Hello and welcome to the Graveyard Media Podcast, episode 31 for the week of March
Two.
5th, 2018. Is it 32?
Oh, you hecked it up. It's episode 32.
Oh, no.
We gotta start over.
We're late, which we're like 6 minutes late, guys.
was
Our
my
loyal
fault. I was
fan
going-
is mad
Our
now.
one loyal fan, yeah.
Our one singular loyal fan is
The
pissed
loyal
fuck
fan is
off.
actually just me.
You're our one loyal fan.
Yes.
So are you saying all of our other fans are unloyal fans?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
No, they're just all Dalsson masquerading to make us feel better about ourselves.
Okay, so this is the Graveyard Media Podcast. I'm your host, Saine Grey. With me is Thel.
Hi.
Dalsson?
What?
Thel?
Yeah!
We're off to a
You
great
already
start.
introduced both of us, so
Thel and
you know,
Dalsson, my hosts. My co-hosts.
Ugh.
Alright.
your host.
So we're going to start off by talking about games and movies we've checked out this week, and then head into movie and gaming news. This week, we're mostly going to talk about the Oscars, probably, but we'll start off with stuff we've checked out this week. Who wants to start?
Yeah.
Pretty much the only thing that there is to talk about. I think Thel
Yeah.
should start, though.
Okay, I think I did the
Just
most
like
this
always.
week because fucking Oscars were here, so I decided to watch at least some of the movies that and by some I mean exactly parentheses one and like one half of a movie that are going up for Oscars that I didn't see. The first movie I saw has absolutely nothing to do with the Oscars and has to do with the fact that I wanted to watch Ryan Coolidge's constantly expanding lists of films that could be put into that one particular impossible Jeopardy question, which is Michael B. Jordan plays a kid from the streets who has big dreams and aspirations and works to achieve them in this film directed by Ryan Coolidge. This is Fruitvale Station, a movie about the murder of Oscar Grant.
You know, initially I wasn't sure if you were talking about Creed or Black Panther, and then it was neither.
I was talking about neither of them. Exactly, like I said, a fucking an impossible Jeopardy question. There are 3 answers. Which was the first Pokemon?
There's actually like 5 answers to that
Yeah. But yeah, Fruitvale Station was actually really different than his previous works. Not just because it was it sort of felt really indie, but almost like tonally it was very different. It didn't have that really sort of deliberate pace that his other movies did. It's sort of it was broken into 2 parts, right?
Right.
It was like life before he goes out on New Year's, life after he goes out on New Year's. Just these 2 specific parts, like this is part 1 and part 2 sort of deal. They worked pretty well together. It was definitely him finding sort of how he is going to do all of this stuff, and a good like prelude for all of the movies that he was going to do afterwards. And I'm happy I watched it. It gives me a little bit of insight into his growth as a filmmaker. And of course, yeah, it was a good fucking movie. It portrayed Oscar Grant not as like some complete fucking hero who didn't do anything wrong. It didn't like speak with its message specifically, so much as portraying him as like a human being who was cut down in his prime, which is exactly what was the intention. It didn't come off as preachy. It just came off as a story about some guy, and that's all he wanted to do. Good job, Ryan Coolidge. You did it. Just like it was your first big movie, and you didn't fuck it up. Good work.
Yay.
I'm happy your ass is going on to bigger and
I
better
don't know
things.
who that is.
Yeah, me neither,
He directed Creed and Black Panther.
Oh, okay. Now I know who that is.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
okay.
funny, because he works with almost exclusively with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, specifically with Michael B. Jordan.
You know, I wonder if Michael B. Jordan is typecast, or if he's like looking for these parts, or if it's just because he's working with the guy.
I think that he's just good friends with this guy, so he works with him all the time. It's just one of those things where he just like has a person he works with, like fucking so a lot of like really good directors just have their like bunch of friends actors that you see in every movie. Like for instance,
Yeah.
Taika Waititi in Thor Ragnarok had the cop lady from fucking what was it? Hunt for the Wilder People. She got to play like just some fucking bitch lady who hated everyone. It was like, hey, there she is. Hey, there's the cop from Hunt for the Wilder People. I'm happy you got to be in a
Was
movie.
she the Valkyrie?
Yeah, no kidding.
No, she was not the Valkyrie. She was the other lady who hated the Valkyrie and was constantly mad at her. She was the bad guy one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I kind of don't like boxing movies, but all of this talk about Black Panther and Michael B. Jordan kind of makes me want to go back and watch Creed.
If you don't like boxing movies, you're probably going to love Creed.
Really?
Like,
okay.
Oh, okay. Well, it legitimately probably the best Rocky movie. Because not only is it like incredibly character driven on like this person trying to live up to his dad's name and all of that stuff, it harkens back to it also uses fucking what was Sylvester Stallone's Rocky character in a really, really interesting way as just some old guy who wants to get the fuck out of the business and works like a mentor rather than being like a throwback. Hey, remember Rocky? It's just like, hey, here's this guy. He's letting this new guy sort of get his wings in a really, really nice way. And also, all of the actual boxing matches are intense as fuck. It was to the point that I was a little bit disappointed. Black Panther.
It's boxing. Like,
well, even more than like just regular
it's
boxing
just two
movies.
dudes
Like,
just beating the shit out of each other until
well, I
one
mean,
of them
yeah, but
gets
like
knocked
these are
out.
it's got some really good.
Yeah,
boxing
but actually, if you watch
say.
like modern boxing, it's so much about points that they don't even like hit each other hardly.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So I don't know. It like Black Panther is kind of fascinating because it makes you wonder how all of that came together in terms of like how did they get the script together? Like, did they approach that director and Michael B. Jordan? Did they want Michael B. Jordan and they brought the director on because of that, or was it the vice versa? Like,
I almost feel like it was sort of I feel like after Creed, it was sort of a thing like the director of Guardians of the Galaxy that happened to him. It's like he just got the movie because the Marvel executives saw some good stuff and they just like I do know that they.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to Kevin Feige. I think he has a lot of control over what directors and stuff they choose. So.
Yeah, and they just let him. They let Ryan Coolidge just go off again. Like the only writing credits were him and like one of his friends.
Yeah, but I think that a lot of I think probably some of the complaints with people doing Marvel movies is that there is a lot of like meetings about what can go in the script and stuff.
Yeah,
because they have to maintain a base level of Marvel continuity. But that's kind of like that's probably not even as bad as like them on the DC side. So
yeah. Well, and not only that, but like Guardians of the Galaxy, we talk about like a lot how Guardians of the Galaxy is just like, okay, this doesn't feel like it's even a Marvel movie. It feels like fun space adventure with fun space characters.
It almost feels like Star Wars, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Black Panther sort of felt like that too.
Not like Star Wars, but it felt like
not like Star Wars, but like completely disconnected. It's fun Wakanda adventure with all these Wakanda characters.
Yeah, and I think Marvel has done a good job of pivoting in such a way that they focus on that more rather than after some of the complaints that all of them were just building up the Infinity Stones or whatever. They did a good job at pivoting to make that less of a deal.
Yeah.
Right.
They're trying to sort of make movies now. But I mean that's what they're always going for. Kevin Feige has given it his all, and Marvel has had with all of these big fucking goddamn cinematic universes. Kevin Feige has had the least trouble out of goddamn all of them, including the fucking other Disney one, the fucking Star Wars cinematic universe, which again had its solo movie replaced with the man who makes film equivalents of landscape paintings, and I make that joke every time because I think I'm clever.
So that's Fruitvale.
You know what I think?
Station.
I think
what was the other movie you saw?
Move your microphone a little closer to yourself, though.
Possibly. Is that better?
Yeah.
Like at all? Okay.
Actually.
All right.
Sort of.
Okay.
I've turned him up a bunch on
it.
my end, but
okay. Yeah, it is probably
I might
because
just
my
have to do
microphone
that.
is a little bit far away from my face. So yeah. The next movie I watched was one specifically in preparation for the Oscars. I finally saw Lady Bird. This is a movie that everyone's been talking about since it fucking came out in goddamn Canes. Shit. I've been sitting on my ass not watching this movie. I had fucking Denis Villeneuve breaking into my goddamn window, sitting my ass down and forcing me to watch Blade Runner 15 times when I should have been watching Lady Bird. Lady Bird was a very good movie. Everyone has said this entire year that Lady Bird is a very good movie, and they're right.
Has it overtaken Blade Runner as your favorite movie last year?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think it would, but I thought it was worth asking.
I don't think it even overtook fucking what was it? It didn't overtake Your Name as second favorite either.
So what you're saying is it's good, but it's not that good.
Well, it's very good, just not as good as I just didn't like it as much.
It's probably good. It's probably better for different people.
Oh yeah, and definitely. I think teenagers are going to love this movie. There was a point in time where I was like, "Oh no, is this going to be the character near the beginning?" So it starts out very much like a high school movie about a very realistic teenager. I'm like, "Oh, okay, this dialogue is realistic. This teenager is much of a teenager, and it's kind of horribly annoying." But the more I thought about it, the more I realized this is exactly like 15 people I knew in high school. It is a very realistic portrayal of a teenager, and as the movie goes, the more characters that I sat down and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking hate this shit," I just loved them, and they were my favorite character in the movie. Like, it's even especially with Lady Bird. There's like this very specific this thing where it's like you start out like seeing the mom as like this woman who is very, very concerned for her family's financial state and how they're going to survive. And you see Lady Bird as this sort of like punk kid who just doesn't give a shit and pretty fucking annoying. And then as the movie goes on, Lady Bird grows, and you see the mom sort of oh, hold on a second.
You've unplugged your headphones there, Thel.
You sort of see the reason that the mom is doing this, in that she is, it's more based on her pride rather than concern for her family. And it's wonderful to see like this person that you hate sort of turned into a good person who is constantly loyal to her friends rather than some fucking bitch. She grows.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. And all of the characters in the movie, this movie is an hour and a half, by the way. And there are so many characters with so many little plots that are done in such a way that I'm legitimately surprised, like a movie like fucking Suicide Squad or Warcraft 2 years ago came out, and they had like a couple of superhero characters. These movies are 2 fucking hours long. They can't give goddamn characters to like 5 people. This movie is an hour and a half. It gives characters to like an entire goddamn town.
You move your mic even closer.
I actually can't.
You're actually
fall out my
bottoming out.
desk.
Okay.
Well, whatever you just did, you got louder.
Okay. Oh, there we go. All right, fixed it. But yeah.
That sounds better, yeah.
Much better.
Where was I? Oh yeah, the characters. Specifically, there was Lady Bird's brother and his girlfriend are these 2 people who look like freeloaders living at their house, and I was like,
is the main character named Lady Bird?
Yes.
Who names their kid Lady Bird? The nickname.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, that's almost a contentious point between Lady Bird and her mother.
Okay.
Every time I hear Lady Bird, I think of the dog from King of the Hill.
Holy shit!
Okay. I feel that. I feel that. But yeah.
I didn't even remember. But yeah, now that you mention it, that's a good point.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like, again, she has, like, a brother and her girlfriend, and they're, living at the house, and I was like, you start out, like, these guys are freeloaders because, like, the first place you're introduced to these characters is, like, at the supermarket where they work, and they're, like, macking on each other and yelling at Lady Bird, and Lady Bird's yelling back at them. It is, and then, like, later on in the movie, they have, good conversations with Lady Bird. They talk her into sort of becoming a better person, and it's a very wonderful movie about a girl growing up, and it's a much more fun movie than I expected. The previous director's previous movie was Francis Ha, which was like this sort of mumblecore thing that I was completely uninterested in, and I thought,
why does mumblecore come up every podcast?
It's because it's this meme
You
word
hate
that
it
Thel
that much.
made up.
Well, no,
Doesn't mean anything.
It comes up a lot every podcast just because of the fact that like there are a lot of movies in the indie scene that can be described. That's well less now, but especially like 2-3 years ago, that was like the movies that came out of the indie scene. There are these 20-something problem indie movies shot on a budget of $2. Now we're getting bigger indie movies.
Shot on a budget of $4.
Shot on a budget of $4. But yeah, a lot of fucking indie directors got their start in that, and that was very much what Francis Ha was, and very much what Greta Gerwig, the director of this movie, did. And I was completely uninterested in it, and I'm thinking of going back to it just to see if it's like as just incredibly entertaining as this movie is. It's like it's a modern day Breakfast Club that was set in 2002. It's a very good movie, and reminded me of fucking Persepolis. There's this one scene where she talks to her second boyfriend. There's like 2 fucking boyfriends in this hour-and-a-half movie about how 2 things can be fucking sad at once. It reminded me of that scene in Persepolis where Marjorie was just like, your fucking nihilism is bullshit. People are dying for causes every day. Fuck you. Another movie that I'm going to use that to segue into the next movie I haven't unfortunately finished yet. I watched part of it last night and was like, oh shit, it's super late. I got to go to bed. It was The Breadwinner. The movie that did not win fucking Best Animated Feature because of course it didn't. The Breadwinner was great.
Yeah, but I heard more about this one than Your Name, surprisingly.
Breadwinner? Really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's...
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I was actually surprised how little Your Name kind of came up in conversations. People forgot about it because it came out in, like, February.
And that's disappointing, because it was really, really good. Yeah. I think
that's something I ape on video game awards all the time for.
Yeah.
That right there, because it came out in February. Video game awards, I don't know how it is with movie awards because I don't follow them, but video game awards are always about the shit that came out in like December.
Came out in April, but
yeah. It is. I will say it's the same thing for movie awards, but slightly different.
I would say it's almost worse for video game awards, just because video game awards take place within the year still.
Yeah.
Like, because it's March, and this is when the Oscars is.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus, like, November, you know?
Yeah.
So people are only thinking about the games that did just come out last month.
Yeah.
And the thing about the Oscars is everyone knows that the Oscars is coming, and they only release the movies that they want to go up for Oscars when the Oscars rolls around.
Right.
Like specifically, they save their Oscar movies for Oscar season so they can get that Oscar nom or Oscar.
And Your Name, I just don't think they or anyone else was really thinking about it in the context of the Oscars, so...
Yeah.
I think that's probably all that happened.
But it was still surprising to see that it didn't even get fucking nominated. That's disappointing.
Yeah, but Breadwinner did, though, right?
Yeah, Breadwinner did.
Yeah, so...
Breadwinner, back on the Persepolis thought train. This is basically Persepolis for kids. Not to say that it is a bad version of Persepolis. It is a much broader version of Persepolis that is much more engaging for younger audiences that tells the sort of idea of a young girl living in Iran. It's well, at least, again, this is from what I've seen of it. I've only seen like half. From the half of it that I have seen, it was very good. The animation is great, which isn't surprising from the same studio that brought us fucking Secret of Kells and Song of the Sea. And yeah, that's really all I can say about it so far. I haven't watched much of it.
Yeah, I think that might be why that people were more aware of Breadwinner, just because it was related to Secret of Kells.
Is that the one with the wolves in it?
Yes.
Princess Mononoke.
Oh, no,
I'm
you're
joking,
thinking of Wolfwalkers.
Wolfwalkers.
You are not. No. The Breadwinner is a movie about a young girl who lives in Iran whose father is captured by the Taliban and has to. He is a boy to go to the market and stuff.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask a question earlier, but I forget what it was.
Oh no. Shoot.
I think it was about Lady Bird, but I forget now.
Right. The answer is yes, Saine. You'd probably like it, but eventually as the movie goes on.
I see.
I don't know. I like some weird things.
Okay, fair enough.
In general,
And,
I
yeah,
actually do like, I don't know,
yeah,
like dramas and stuff
yeah.
and romance
It-
stuff. Like I
again,
actually
like,
care about some of that stuff.
Yeah.
So
and I did say this like earlier off the podcast, but like you're either like saying you specifically, you're either going to love Lady Bird immediately and then really love her as it goes on, or hate Lady Bird and then love her as it goes on.
I might
'Cause-
check it out just because I'm
Yeah.
curious. You know,
Yeah.
it's weird. This might be kind of funny, but people sort of talk about Lady Bird and how it's been described to me almost in the same way some people talk about uh fuck,
Breakfast Club?
Life is Strange.
Oh, huh.
I don't
Oh,
know.
really?
I've heard like kind of in the same kind of things about it. I don't know.
I feel like from what I've heard about Life is Strange, that it was like a 40-year-old wrote a like a script, like some 40-year-old man wrote a script about a quote unquote teenager. This movie feels very personal to Greta Gerwig. Like this is who she was as a
Is your noise? Maybe turn your noise gate down a little
Yeah,
bit.
maybe.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
ends of
keep cutting down
sentences
a
keep
little.
getting cut off.
Just slightly down.
weird, fucking weird.
Maybe like a step
Okay.
down.
Yeah, I got it.
All right. Well, I don't know. I'm like curious about Life is Strange in the same way that I'm curious about Lady Bird, which is funny.
Fair enough.
That being said, I doubt that the dialogue and whatever is even remotely close to Lady Bird, but that's not what I was getting
Yeah.
at.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, let's move on.
Sure.
What's next? Didn't you have one more movie, though?
No, that was it.
No, I think
Okay.
Breadwinners was the last movie.
Breadwinners was the last movie.
You want to talk about games, Dalsson?
Sure, I'll go next. So the game that I've been playing this week is Divinity Original Sin 2.
Yeah.
And that's
Okay, we'll
it.
just jump right
Yeah.
into it.
Okay, fuck it.
Let's talk about Divinity for a minute.
All right.
For a hot minute, because man, there's a lot to talk about.
This game is quickly approaching one of my favorite games of all time.
Oh
Honestly.
yeah, for sure.
Like
I mean, we played Divinity 1, right? But we didn't not get
we
sucked
played
into
Divinity
it.
Original Sin.
Or
one.
Divinity Original Sin 1. Yeah, Divinity 1 was a ARPG.
Actually kind of want to go back and play Divinity 2. It looked kind of like Oblivion.
Yeah. It's
For those of
we
you who
didn't- we
don't
didn't
know,
get sucked
Divinity
in,
Original
yeah.
Sin 2 is a CRPG that is co-op up to 4 players and has a very unique like I don't know, like open open turn-based combat system where it's not like grid-based, it's like actual like terrain-based.
right.
And it has a very long and deep story with several maps with lots of side quests and stuff. So what were you gonna say? I just wanted to like say what the game was
So
before
yeah,
we got into it.
you and I Sane played Divinity Original Sin 1. And we did not get sucked into it like we got sucked into this. I don't know if it's just because we were playing it with Thel, so like
I don't know. I didn't get nearly as
Three of us
sucked in, but I feel like I enjoyed it a lot. It just felt time consuming to play. And this game
one,
is
I feel
still
like-
as time consuming to play. I just
Yeah.
am more invested in it in a weird way.
Yeah, instead of like it being time consuming to play, we sort of lose time while playing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's accurate, and it's really fun. Like each character is like I'm an elf and Thel is a lizard, and
That is one of
You
my
know,
favorite
I am
changes.
not a. You
no,
are
Saine is a
wrong.
lizard. Thel is an undead.
Yeah.
So like Thel has specific chat options for like an undead, and like maybe an undead is the only person that can talk to this man and convince him to do what we want him to do. Or like because I am a scholar, I was able to perform surgery on somebody that otherwise we would have just had to kill. Just as some examples. So like each different character opens up different options in conversation. But if you talk to them with the wrong character, unless we're forced to reload, we're not save scumming every conversation to have it 10 times. That's fucking boring. So
Not every conversation.
yeah.
I just looked
But-
back. We put 27 hours into the original Divinity, Original Sin. and we've
Put
put
27
43 hours, and we're not even,
Yeah.
or maybe maybe a third of the
Yeah.
way through at most.
But we
Yeah,
put like that
jeez.
much. We put like that much time in this week.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't that. That's overall time. We put about
Oh.
we put 30 hours in this week.
Yeah, we put as much
Oh,
we
it's
put as
more.
much yeah. We put as much time into Divinity Original Sin 2 this week as we did in the original game ever. So, or the first game ever.
You know,
Yeah.
as I play through this game, though, it makes me want to go back and replay the original one. Not because I need like story connections or anything, but just because I actually am fond of some of the stuff that happened in the original game.
Yeah.
Right.
But one of my hesitations to do that is it's only 2 players, I believe.
Yeah.
Whereas Original Sin 2 is 3 players, which makes it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was it?
Up to
Or
four,
up to 4
actually.
player, yeah.
Up
But
to floor, yeah. And another thing about Divinity Original Sin 1, because I never played that with you guys, and I played a little bit of the first one, and because we were playing so much of 2, I actually did go back and play a little bit more of 1, and I'm just marveling at how much more polished Divinity Original Sin 2 is. There's just so much more.
I mean, they had what,
Combat
5
is
years
better
to
than-
polish it, or
What?
yeah, they had what, like 5 years to polish it?
yeah, it's-
2.
2? Okay.
There's
well, I was close.
actually
Yeah.
I'm not sure because the old page for Divinity Original Sin turned into Original Sin Enhanced Edition, so I actually don't know.
I think
Yeah.
it came out,
When the
like,
first one came out,
2014?
so. No, well,
Something like that.
I don't know. The Enhanced Edition, it says 2015, but I don't know if that's the same as the original.
Yeah, I think it came out like the Enhanced Edition came out like a year after or something.
Yeah, we had long since dropped it when Enhanced Edition came out. I remember that.
Okay, it came out 2014, June, originally.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
So only
like
3 years. That's
4
actually,
years,
like,
yeah.
pretty quick between those.
Yeah.
Like, surprisingly
true.
quick between.
But they had the engine going. They just had to fix it, basically.
Yeah, they updated it.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And everything. This game is a good ass sequel because they took all of the stuff from the first game and improved on it, made it better and more shiny. That's how you do a sequel.
Except they don't let you use your fucking source for the first, like, 16 hours of the game.
Well, that's because we fucked up and didn't talk to the person who took our source collars off.
Oh,
Let's be
fine.
honest.
It
They don't
did
let you
take
use
us
your
a
source for
while
the
to
first 8 hours of the game.
It did take
Yeah.
us a while to even find those people, though, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately... Fortunately, the first one is only 2 players. Even the enhanced version. That's kind of a shame.
Yeah. But
So,
second one, good.
yeah, second one's really good.
Yeah.
Right. No, it's fun as hell. I love
Yeah.
everything about it, and it's so well written. Like
Oh,
that's something
yeah.
that people don't really harp on in games, but in a CRPG, I think it's
Yeah, in a CRPG, it's like
Extraordinarily
almost everything.
This is like
Also-
one of the
Brightness.
few games, or one of the few like cases of writing where Thel and I completely like agree up and down.
it's also fully voice acted, which is almost always a detriment in these kinds
Not
of games.
fully voice
but they-
acted. There are
Sometimes it skips over my character.
there are places.
Yeah.
I think it, namely the player character. Not even
Yeah,
like not always, but maybe like 50% of the time they don't voice the lines. So
the player
Yeah.
characters' lines are not voiced at all unless they are talking to each other.
Yeah.
They're that you have conversations within the party, and those are fully voiced. But
well, sometimes they just speak out loud when you find stuff too.
that's true.
Yeah.
But I kind of like what they've done with the conversations. Like, instead of having a like actual solid dialogue that you pick, instead it'll say you wonder this or that or the other thing. So you kind of get to imagine how the wording goes yourself instead of
Yeah.
having to just be like, well, I don't want my character to say exactly this. That sounds like a dickhead, but whatever.
Yeah, the dialogue is very, very good. The lore is really interesting, and the CRPG mechanics are cool as hell. The original Divinity Original Sin, that was like one of the big draws of it, was the CRPG combat mechanic. I
Mhm.
don't play CRPGs for the combat, But
Yeah.
this one is got some good ass combat to the point where I'm actually excited and don't want to play as a charisma mancer and just go through.
Yeah,
like that
that's
fucking combat.
one of my favorite things about this, because a lot of CRPGs,
Yeah.
it's like combat. Sometimes it's like okay. A lot of
Uh-huh.
times it's just like, man, I really like want to do my best to avoid combat when I can. But this
Yeah.
one, I feel like, oh shit, those people are fighting. Let's join that battle right now.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did that as a matter of fact. We like used
Yeah.
all our movement abilities to like fly over there.
Yeah, we jumped over a
Instead-
cliff just so we could get in combat faster.
Yeah. Then we helped these dudes. Then we realized these dudes were dickheads, so we killed
And we
them
killed
too.
Yep.
But yeah, it was the combat is great, and I am happy
It's
about
like
this
the way
entire
that you
game.
can just like combine stuff and all of the like unique buffs and stuff, the unique things you can do. There's a lot more to do than most CRPGs.
And like one of the draws from the first Divinity Original Sin was that the kind of elemental combo system, like you had water and then you could freeze the water and that would do stuff.
Or electrify it.
Or you could burn
No.
it and it would turn it.
Yeah.
You could throw fire
No.
and turn into steam.
No, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying. They actually improved a lot of the mechanics of the magic system in Divinity Original Sin 2. I don't think steam was in the original one.
Yeah, I don't think steam. Also, you could poison water in Divinity Original Sin 1. You can't do that no.
You can in the second one.
You can?
Yeah.
It turns all
It
of the
poisons-
water.
No,
It's
I
like
think it just
poison.
replaces. I think poison
Yeah,
just replaces
yeah.
water now.
Well, I
Unless
was
you
thinking-
use, like,
I was thinking
contaminate.
Contamination, yeah.
Yeah. Which that one just turns water to poison, but that's not the
Yeah.
same.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Like they did a good job of like updating the way that environment stuff works, and it makes it very like important to bring people who can use all of the different elements to keep it. I don't know. To give yourself the maximum number of options.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that one thing that you do with like CRPGs, right?
Yeah.
A lot of CRPGs are very like entire party management with like the single player aspect, where it's like it might be kind of boring to just play as one of these characters, and it's really interesting to play them as a party and set them up in specific places. In this game, one character has enough stuff that it is interesting to play as.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Especially if you're Thel and
Right.
are summoning like a million things.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that too.
Or
Yeah,
me,
I always
where I
wonder-
just have everything.
Yeah, but as a result, like you can't hit things with your sword like at all.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm really digging this game. We're probably gonna put more time into it, which means you're probably gonna get an update for next week. But
Yeah.
I just it's quickly becoming one of my favorite, not only CRPGs but favorite games. So
Yeah. I love it.
It's great.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
the fact that we put 30 hours into it just this week should say something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here sick as a dog too. Like.
And that's 30 hours of us playing together. So that's like
Yeah.
that is an even more restrictive amount of like conditions than normal.
Yeah. All
Like,
three
I
of
don't
us had
think
to be.
any of us have played this game alone.
No.
Well, Saine played a little bit, but that's just to go buy some stuff for his character after we finish.
Which that's not even playing.
Yeah.
Right, that's
That's
management.
shopping.
Yeah.
Which I did that again last night, but I forget why. But oh yeah, I went back to get a specific skill book last night. But
Right.
anyway, let's move on. I was actually gonna have you talk about that other game, but
You mean Deep Rock Galactic,
yes,
also known as Torbjorn 2.
tell me about
Torble Harder.
Torble Harder. How about that?
That sounds great. So,
Ah, geez, I'm back. My daughter replaced me in the game, so I have
we
to
could
begin
also
this
play
game instead.
In fact, we should actually probably talk about Overwatch a little bit.
oh yeah, that's a good idea. But first let me describe Deep Rock Galactic.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
in Deep Rock Galactic, you play as a dwarf. Your dwarf is either a heavy machine gunner, a scout with a grappling hook, obviously the best class because he has a grappling hook.
I don't know, man. A scout sounds like they captured an elf and forced him to work for them.
You can be. I think the other class is a driller, which is just has a big old fucking honking drill that just drills through everything instead of a pickaxe to slowly mine. And then, of course, you also have Torbjorn 2. This time he has 2 turrets.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Um,
They don't
now-
call me Torbjorn 2 for
now,
nothing.
now I'm describing these as Now I'm describing these as dwarves, and they certainly are dwarves. They are just your good old drinking rowdy ass fantasy dwarves, except they're in space. That's why it's called Deep Rock Galactic.
I thought Matt Ward decanonized those.
Yeah, well, they're back.
They're back. You
Who
couldn't
cares?
kill
Who
us,
gives a
Matt
shit
Ward.
about what Matt Ward says?
We're the squats, motherfucker.
Essentially, you deploy into different, like, either different zones on this one planet or different asteroids. I'm not 100% clear on that. And your primary goal is to mine out a certain type of mineral, like just get enough of it that you can extract, and like you're contractors. You're working for a company called Deep Rock Galactic. So they send you out and they're like, go mine this stuff. And that's actually a really mundane job for a video game, right? They're like, okay, well, we're paying you to go mine this stuff, bring it back to us.
I don't know. There's lots of
Except-
games I've played just to do the mining.
Man, I've been
but-
playing like Eve.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
You're
Except
talking to the wrong people about that
Yeah.
one.
here's the thing. There's bugs everywhere. And they're mean.
Oh no, it's on Howard.
No,
Sorry,
no,
go
no,
on.
no, no, no. Surprisingly,
kind of
this game
bug.
doesn't have very many bugs, except
Of
for the
that
enemies.
description.
Of that description, yeah.
Yeah.
And so every once in a while you'll get hit with like a swarm of bugs where you're basically forced to turtle up and not explore the cave. But a lot of the game is almost relaxing to a point. You kind of just run around and mine out these particular minerals. You have to like search for the fields. Each cave that you enter is like an instanced area, so it's not like infinitely procedurally generated, but it is generated when you go in. And there's all kinds of different stuff. You can upgrade your classes with the payment that you get, but you can also buy new beards, which is very important.
Yes,
Um,
beard collection.
I
Yeah.
damn near uninstalled the game because 2 of the classes start out with no beard at all, which is absolutely just heresy.
But
You
is
can't have a
there
beardless dwarf.
beard progression?
There is beard
You
progression.
get bigger beards as
Yes,
you level
yes.
up.
As you level up, you can you unlock bigger and bigger beards.
Okay, that's good.
That
Good.
is yes.
Good
Yeah.
to know.
So it's understandable that you would start out with no beard, but I still think they should have given you some stubble or something at least. A dwarf with no beard is just
Not a dwarf.
at all. Exactly. It's
Even
more like just-
female dwarves should have beards.
Exactly. I played a lot of the engineer. Now the
I have a
important
question.
thing about this, yes.
But just real quick, so you were saying you kind of go into instance areas. Does that mean it doesn't have like an open world element like Minecraft at all?
No, it doesn't
There's
have
no,
any
like, base
open world
building?
stuff. No base
Hmm,
building, nothing like
interesting.
that. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if I like that. I guess I would have to play it, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, you don't really collect these resources to build a base. You collect these resources for your contractor work.
because I was kind of hoping that this was sort of like a Minecraft-esque game, but with better like combat, which is what it kind of
It's-
looked like from the trailer.
It's a lot closer to Killing Floor. It's not
That actually turns me off to it.
it's hard to say because it's not like you're just surviving, right? It has nothing to do with surviving. It's like Killing Floor in that, there's like every once in a
Wave.
while there'll be waves of people coming at you, there's 4 classes and you kind of upgrade your classes from doing missions and stuff. But the gameplay of the missions is rather unique. Like it's at its core, it's a cooperative game. It's intended to be cooperative, right?
Yeah.
So like the scout can grappling hook around, but while he's on his grappling hook, he can't mine anything. It's not possible for him to use his pickaxe because he's using his grappling hook. So you might need an engineer to use his platform gun to shoot a platform under your scout so that he can stand there and mine. And if you don't have a scout, the engineer's platform gun really like tanks in efficiency. And if you don't have a engineer, then your grappling hook's not going to work out very well, So it's really interesting, like the ways that you can go about doing puzzles like that. It's
this
almost
game-
like procedurally generated puzzles.
This game is early access, so I guess they could add something.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like people will probably pick the game up and wonder why it's not.
Yeah.
I can't be the only one to wonder that, right?
Yeah, they'll probably be sitting there and like asking, "Hey, can we have like Minecraft mode or something?
Yeah.
We in Minecraft? I want a Minecraft."
But I don't know. It's like that's not what the game is really about. It's like even remotely,
yeah.
like you're not even really intended to dig through stuff. More often, you're just digging for the minerals. You're not like digging through cave systems or anything. You know. So I don't know. I think that would be a weird jump for me after having played it.
It
but
does. So you played the exploration mode, it says.
Yeah.
But they're tending to add more game modes, so maybe they could add alternate
They do
versions.
have 2 game modes right now. They have exploration mode and point defense mode, which point defense is more like Killing Floor, but the way that
Is
I
that
was
kind
playing
of like
with a couple
maybe
of
like
cool dudes.
Fortnite or something?
Well, no. I was playing with a couple of cool dudes, and they kind of described it to me. I didn't get a chance to actually play it, but you know, in Left 4 Dead 2, the finale of Dead Exit or something, where you're in the mall and you have to like go out, grab the stuff, and bring it back.
Yeah.
That's kind of what they were saying. Point defense mode was like you have this one point, you have to make sure it stays safe, but then you also have to go out and get minerals and bring them back to the point. So that seems pretty interesting. I didn't get a chance to try it because it's locked behind, like you have to have played a certain amount to level up your overall account to unlock other areas. Which makes sense because you get stronger as you earn credits, so but yeah, I don't know. Deep Rock Galactic is a ton of fun. It's a little pricey at $25.
Yeah, it sounds kind of early for that then.
Yeah, but you know, they're probably maybe let it steam for a little while. They're probably planning on adding more stuff to it, so you never know.
All right.
Yeah. It's definitely on my list to keep an eye on.
It's kind of funny because I think about games like this and it's like there's not many games that really strike the right balance for being like, I don't know, combat oriented, but also like having building mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
So if they did add like a Minecraft mode, essentially, then like there would just be a just as equal chance that it wasn't any good anyway. So I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know though. Like a lot of the games that do the Minecraft thing focus more on the survival thing.
Yeah.
So
instead of
if you
combat.
didn't have the survival aspect of it, maybe it would be better. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
I guess we'll. I'm interested in checking this game out down the line. But yeah, I think I will let it cook a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I played one really good game that had great combat mechanics and great building mechanics, and that was Roblox
Minecraft.
Military Tycoon.
Oh my fucking god! Please no. Don't remind me.
It was a wonderful game in which
me.
you could kill 10-year-olds and feel bad about killing 10-year-olds.
And then
Nah,
steal
I
from
felt
Megan.
great about killing those 10-year-olds.
And then, that was the other. That was the
YouTuber
other tycoon
Tycoon.
game, YouTube Tycoon, which was boring because you didn't get a gun.
You got a foam sword.
We should
got
just
a
add
sword.
Megan to the podcast.
Yeah.
fine,
You should just be on the podcast.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Every week now, guest
have her-
starring Megan.
We'll have her as a guest star that
This
never
week
comes-
only.
that never leaves. like the podcast version of a guy who lives on your couch. Guest starring Megan. She's always here.
Guest starring Todd.
Guest starring Todd.
Todd
Here
Howard.
comes BoJack Horseman again. Speaking of,
What are you
BoJack
doing here?
someday.
New BoJack someday.
Yeah,
Horseman is great,
probably
we love it.
June
Couple
or
months.
July. Probably June or
Yeah.
July. That's usually when it drops.
Yeah.
We're actually
you know
kind
we
of a
ain't
little
never gonna
far
be
out.
talking about anything but that once it does.
Yeah, for like 4 weeks.
So yeah, new BoJack Horseman was great. What did you guys think? Oh yeah, fucking incredible. Oh, good shit, guys. Yeah, I loved it. That's how we feel about BoJack Horseman. It was good.
It's true.
It's really
Also,
hard
new
to talk
Venture
about that
Brothers
show
show.
without like trying really hard not to spoil like everything.
Everything,
Yeah.
yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay, why don't we move on then?
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, I did play a little bit of Path of Exile before we move on.
Oh yeah. Oh,
It came
we were
out-
gonna
it
talk
came
about
out with-
Overwatch
Yeah, I was
there.
actually gonna ask you about that because
Yeah.
I saw both of you had jumped into that game a little bit again. So I was
A little bit.
wondering
We haven't
it's
why.
done a
really-
lot.
It's really hard to describe. I don't know. I don't think we really have enough to talk about this week, but we can kind of
Yeah.
say first impressions because we dropped off it real hard for what 6 months maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, just from first impressions, playing our old mains with none of the new content or any
Yeah.
So Path of Exile
Just fucking run the maps.
every 6 months or so,
Yeah.
we'll maybe 3 months. We'll
Yeah,
add
yeah.
a new league with totally new mechanics. Like the last one they had was Abyss or something, and it had like random cracks in the world where you could go into progressively harder dungeons that weren't
Yeah.
like part of the regular world. They were just procedurally generated.
Called
This
Fall of Oriath, right?
Fall of
No,
Oriath was
Fall
the
of
new
Oriath was,
expansion
like,
that
the-
came out maybe what a year ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's just what
Um,
the icon says.
That was the one that added the next 10 patches. So but this new
Yeah.
league is called Bestiary.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, it's like the Pokemon League where you just go and capture monsters out in the world and then you use those monsters to murder them and compact them into weapons. So while
Well-
I wait for Monster Hunter Worlds to come out, I could just do this.
It's like the Pokemon
course,
League.
we haven't
except all
played
the
it.
monsters are horrible miscreations of God, and
Yeah,
you
they're like
kill
all
them.
mega evolutions.
Yeah, yeah. We haven't played in the Monster League yet, so we'll probably talk about
So
that.
we don't know anything
more.
about that. But in
Yeah,
the last few months that we haven't played, there are a lot of quality of life improvements. Like
yeah, and like the
like
last patch
bonus
specifically
bonus
that added a ton of maps.
They
which is
added
in-game content.
they added a mini map,
Yeah.
like a corner
yeah.
mini map instead of
Yeah.
having to have the tab overlay.
I thought they always had a
That
mini
was
map.
always in there, but you had to like
Was it?
specifically choose it or the tab over.
I always
Oh,
used the
right.
mini map.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I never used the overlay because it made it look too busy.
Yeah.
Whereas it didn't matter as much
Um,
because that was basically the Diablo 2 map, and I didn't mind it so
Yeah.
much in Diablo 2 because it was less.
There was
Obtrusive.
less stuff on it.
There was less. Yeah, it was more. There's lower resolution, I guess, on
Yeah.
Diablo
Right.
2. So
Yeah.
on Path of Exile, it was like just made it everything too busy and hard to see. So I
Yeah.
always use the
Right.
mini map.
The other thing is they buffed both of our main characters like
Yeah.
fucking to the sky. Like
Yeah.
Thel is a necromancer, and Path of Exile's always hated necromancers, so they nerfed and nerfed and nerfed, and they were like, "Oh shit, wait, back up."
Oops, we over
And
nerfed it.
now Thel is fucking untouchable. Like
Yeah,
he
I am-
cannot. He's just can't.
I'm
get
going
touched.
into like in-game content maps that are like 5 levels above me, which at some point would have just murdered me with the basic mobs. I'm melting the bosses without any trouble.
Yeah,
See,
and
I'm in a
I don't
place.
know what they did to me.
I'm in a place
Like-
where I'm almost interested to going back into Path of Exile, but if we play that together, it would mean not playing Divinity together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't
Well,
think that'll happen anytime soon. In
Well,
fact,
the
we
thing about
installed
Path of
this.
Exile-
We installed this like free-to-play MMO so we could try that this week, and we never did
didn't even
because we
try
were
it.
too
Yeah.
busy playing Divinity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing that I think might bring you back into Path of Exile, Saine, is that thing you had to do before where you had to beat the game 3 times, like the Diablo thing. You don't have to do that anymore. You can just
Yeah,
go through all the
yeah.
acts.
It's
Uh,
not. They don't have like difficulty modes anymore. It's just
Yeah.
go from Act 1 to Act 10, which
Yeah.
I
thought it was
like
always
a
like
lot
that.
better.
No.
No, you went from Act 1 to Act 4 and then reset at Act 1 on difficulty 2.
I don't think I ever did that.
Mm.
That
You
you
did.
are right.
No,
but that
no,
is
no,
something
you
I don't
definitely
like.
got to play through 2, but that was before. I remember you got to play through 2 before Act 4 came out.
I remember.
Okay.
I remember that was.
Yeah.
I thought that was the reason you said you got bored because we were just doing the same thing again but harder.
Yeah.
Maybe. That does sound like me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it's like, I can understand that, but now they changed it, so now there's new stuff.
Yeah. Instead of hell and nightmare difficulty, there's just one connected game.
And it's
So
like
it's
you
pretty
do
fun.
go back to like excuse me, the same sort of like basic areas, but they're like different, but you go into different parts of those areas. And also there are like completely different bosses and different storyline and all of this stuff. You're not just backtracking all the way with the same stuff, you're doing like completely different things. in those areas,
Mm-hmm.
which is nice.
I think that's all I really can say about Path of Exile until I experience.
Right.
Until we
more
actually
of
play the
new stuff.
bestiary mode.
Yeah, the bestiary mode's interesting.
Yeah.
I
have a couple games I played this week.
Okay.
I'm gonna talk about. Are you guys talking about Dark Souls? I'm gonna talk about Sariento VR, which is a VR game I played this week.
Okay.
Which I'm looking at. It's funny. I'm looking at the katakana for this game, and it's spelled wrong. But like the English translation of the katakana is spelled wrong. So Sariento is a so it's this VR game that has kind of a loadout system where you can have different kinds of guns and swords and other kind of sort of weirder weapons, and you kind of there's a few modes. Like one is kind of just like free play missions, and then there's a campaign, and then there's also like a competitive mode. So it actually is like really full featured from what I've seen. I only put about an hour and a half into it because it is a very active game, and I was pretty tired pretty quickly. It was the most like disorienting, not in that I got sick and dizzy or anything, but disorienting in that after 5 minutes I didn't know which way I was facing in the real world anymore.
I feel like that's a good sign for a VR game.
Yeah, if you didn't have a big cord coming out of your back.
Yeah.
The more that I play this game, the more I realize just how good it would be to have a larger space with, like, a larger, like, with the actual wireless setup for it, because this game is the kind of game that you play and you really go, okay, I can really see how having more space and no tether would actually help this game quite a bit.
Yeah.
This game's actually it's really fun. It has a system where you have double jumps and you can wall jump and you can
in VR?
In VR.
Oh god, that sounds awful.
No, it's actually really good.
Oh.
I don't even know
That's
how to.
great.
Yeah, I know because like
it.
so when you jump, you actually go into like. Okay, so not when you jump, but when you hold down the jump button, you have like a kind of a parabola aiming system. So you can kind of jump and then aim your second jump because you can double jump. And then every time if you like jump onto a wall, then that resets your double jump. So you can kind of stay in the air sort of indefinitely, depending on whether or not there's like things close to you. And when you are like holding down the jump button, it has a bullet time, so you can do stuff like jump off of walls, start aiming your next jump while you're shooting at someone.
Ooh.
It is really fun. The only thing is like it took a lot of time for me to get used to playing it, like acclimate myself to playing it, because initially you're not doing that like crazy fancy jumping off walls thing. You start off by like, I have a sword and I have a gun, or you could have two swords, or you can have like a bigger sword or whatever. There are different options, but you start off with these things, and it's like, I initially was like, I don't know how close I need to be to an enemy to actually hit him with the sword. Like that was like the very basic start of the game for me. Whereas I felt like Super Hot VR had a better sense of when you're close enough to hit someone, where this game is like, it's not the same kind of low poly thing. It actually has like full on textures and stuff, so it's a little bit harder to judge maybe how close you need to be to something. So there were plenty of times where I would teleport in front of someone and just be like, can't reach him. And initially I didn't like swords because of it. I thought that they felt kind of bad, but as I played more of it, I got more used to it. One of the other cool things about the game is like you can hold swords in either hand or backwards even. So you can have the sword.
Boy.
You can
so
have.
You can be like Naruto.
Well, I don't actually know what you're talking about. but you can have the sword so that the blade is coming like down instead of up. So you can teleport like just to the right of someone and then like cut through them as you like sort of pass them.
Nothing personnel, kid.
Question: could you hold your sword like this, blade coming down, like teleport to where the person's head is right here, and then you just teleport your sword inside of them?
No,
just
because
take
it's
it
not
out?
really a teleport. It's like
Okay, all right.
and
It's like a dash.
it is like a dash, yeah.
Okay.
And actually, it's not like they go black. It goes black or anything. So it's not like you're teleporting. It like it does kind of the motion blur on the sides, which makes you feel like you're going fast. If that makes sense.
Okay.
So it reduces motion sickness because it has this like effect that makes your brain aware that you're like moving forward. If that makes sense. I don't know. It's really weird, but I felt maybe like I was almost sort of queasy at one point, but I think it might have just been because I was hungry. Because
That
I was
can
actually
happen.
like starving at the time, so because I was waiting to leave to go grab something to eat, but so I wasn't actually 100% sure what that was and whether or not that it like is actually making me sick or anything. The game does have a tutorial that like teaches you about double jumping and stuff, but
Okay.
I thought that could have been improved a little bit because after I played for a while, I went and started fucking around in the gameplay menu and I found a bunch of options that I didn't realize were options. That made it a lot better, especially for me with the Windows Mixed Reality headset versus like the Oculus or Vive. The game doesn't actually know what a mixed reality headset is, what the Windows headset is. So I had it set to the Oculus version of the controllers rather than the Vive version of the controllers. And there's actually a thing in the options that says this one is recommended for Vive, this one is recommended for Oculus, and the controllers for the Windows Mixed Reality headset are closer to Vive controllers. So I should have had the Vive controllers because one of the things that you can do on the right hand is like rotate your body. And it like it kind of goes black so it doesn't make you sick, but it rotates you so that you can kind of reorient without having to physically rotate, which is good if you have a big fucking cord coming out of your neck. But the problem was it was treating the trackpad as if it were a joystick, which meant very slight movements on the trackpad would totally rotate your character, and it was really difficult to use until you kind of like got used to it. But with the Vive version, you just need to click the button and it rotates, so it's easier to deal with.
Yeah.
See, I use the Steam controller, which is the exact same thing.
Right, exactly.
So I think that I'm already kind of used to that. It wouldn't be as big a deal for me.
No, it would, because it's not it was designed in such a way that makes it for a joystick, not a trackpad. So the problem is very slight movements on the trackpad would change you, like change orientation,
unless
was
you
very
have it centered at all times.
Yes, but it was too sensitive. Is what I'm saying. It was so sensitive that you were constantly doing the wrong thing. Whereas in Vive mode, it makes you physically click the button, which is much easier.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so like this is the most game VR that I've ever played so far. Like compared to I don't know, like Super Hot VR is a fun game, but it was sort of like a tech demo, right?
Yeah.
It was a fun tech demo game, but Sariento VR feels like an actual game, and it has a campaign. I haven't even touched the campaign because I actually didn't realize it was there at first, because you kind of have this menu that
you weren't looking in the right direction for the campaign mode.
Yeah, well, there was multiple tabs, and I didn't click on the campaign tab. I clicked on like when you what it gives you is kind of like daily challenges, like right at the beginning. So I was like, I guess I'll pick the first daily challenge. You know what I mean? So I just didn't really look for it at first, because I was just like,
that makes sense.
I don't know what I'm doing. And actually, it's probably a good thing that I did start with daily challenges on easy mode, because like when I first started playing, I had no idea what was happening.
Right.
It took me like until the third daily challenge before I even realized anything. And like I said, the tutorial, it wasn't super good about telling you all of the different movement options you have in the game. One of the things you can do is after jumping or sliding, or like there's like a dash or a jump. At the end of that, you can crouch, like physically crouch down, and it'll slide you forward. You can do fun things like dash forward and then slide and then cut people as you're like sliding by. So there's like weird stuff that you can do that I didn't even know until I was looking through the options menu. So I don't know, like if you were to pick up this game, I would definitely recommend actually go through the options menu before you actually start doing anything real. And like when you first go in, rather than picking a mission, you can fuck around in the like dojo, which is like the room that you start in, and you like. It's kind of weird because it has like a lobby, and you can fuck around in the lobby, which is called the dojo, or you can just click and start a mission. And I clicked and started a mission without even realizing that I could like shoot things in the. So I don't know, maybe fuck around with the guns a little bit before you go into a game. I don't know.
That way you actually know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Maybe the campaign like teaches you some of this stuff.
I don't know. I haven't played the campaign. Because it forces you to do a tutorial, which is good. For this kind of game. But I didn't play the campaign, so maybe it eases you into some of it. It also has a loadout system with actually a pretty large variety of guns. There was 3 kinds of handgun. There's 4 kinds of sword, or 3. I think there's 3 kinds of sword. There's 3 kinds of rifle, one being a sniper rifle. Actually, a lot harder to use than you would think. And actually, here's another thing that I was not aware of until I actually, fucked around in the options. But when you have a rifle, if you're trying to use it with one hand, it's really inaccurate. If you have to have your second hand empty, and then you use the grip key to like hold on to the rifle, which makes it more accurate, even if it's not really any different. But it makes it move slower and kind of tilt at an angle relative to your hands.
Interesting.
But it actually like makes it more accurate too. So that was something that I didn't realize until I was messing around in the options menu, which like the first time I took out the sniper rifle, I was like, wow, this is really useful or useless. It doesn't even shoot where I'm aiming. It also has like some throwing weapons, which I find impossible to use, but maybe it's just because I think it's because the Windows Mixed Reality headset only tracks in front of you that it makes it hard to do like swinging motions, which also made the bow even less useful than the other game that I played with the bow. This game is possible to use the bow without holding like the bow totally in front of you. Yeah. So if you have a Windows Mixed Reality headset, don't use the bow.
Why doesn't
probably
it just track...
fine. What?
Why doesn't it just track the location of the controllers, like without having?
It does.
But it tracks it with a camera instead of.
Yeah.
Why doesn't it just have like motion sensitive controls in the controllers?
Because you can't. So you can't. It does track 3D rotation. So you can put it behind your back and rotate it around, and it'll know that you're rotating it.
But it won't know it's behind you.
But it won't. But once it goes out of your field of vision, it doesn't know where it is in 3D space because it's not. It's easy to track stuff like that with accelerometers, but it's really hard to positionally track stuff with accelerometers.
The Switch's Joy-Cons seem to do it just fine. They don't even have a sensor bar.
But those again track. It works a little bit differently, but those aren't tracking the same way. It's using similar sensors, but it doesn't. With the Switch, there isn't a lot of variance between forward and backwards.
Okay.
It's just left and right, so it can do stuff like simple movements. Like this is the same way. You can sort of track simple movements, but once it goes out of your field of vision, it doesn't know how far back it's going anymore.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's not perfect. Unless you're like trying to look at both controllers, and then it's like really just hard to aim anyway. So like the bow just doesn't work with the Windows Mixed Reality headset. It's fine, but I think that bows are one of the most fun things about VR for a lot of people. So if that's the case, maybe actually get a Vive, because both Oculus and the Windows Mixed Reality just aren't going to be good at that.
Right.
Oculus is going to be better because it tracks from a different camera, but I don't know. It does feel like Vive is the most, like, the best actual at track, or the best system at actually tracking things. So I don't know. And people are working on more, they call it inside-out tracking solutions. So there might be a better version of the Windows Mixed Reality headset that comes down the line that is able to better track without cameras, but at this point in time, that's how it does it. So, and it's not easy technology in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, better every day.
Siriento VR is really good.
Nice.
I haven't played Arizona Sunshine yet, so I'll probably try that out too soon. But Siriento definitely feels like the best game that I've played so far in VR, and it actually feels like a game.
Good.
Right.
It feels like it's a game that is improved by being in VR, not just a thing that exists only because VR is a thing. So
it's a game that was made with VR in an intention to make a game rather than to make a VR game
or experience.
Yeah, or experience.
The only thing is, like, because there is some limitations, some of the models look kind of janky, but not as bad as In Death. In Death had really, like, bad models, but Siriento has, like, there are some models that do not look great. And then there's, like, this one that's like a fat guy sumo wrestler, and when you kill him, he often falls on his face, and you have to, like, look at his butt. That kind of sucks.
Oh, good.
That's points against it.
It's you.
It's a fat sumo wrestler's butt. I don't know if that's what you want to look at. I don't know.
Well, maybe you might not.
That's true.
Maybe there's someone out there.
I don't know. Maybe someone. I don't know. Maybe people like sumo wrestler physiques. I mean, if that's your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a Windows VR headset. Maybe you should try it, Thel, Siriento, and then we can compare notes. It doesn't make me very sick, but I seem to be pretty resistant to motion sickness.
And I'm definitely not. Like, VR fucks me up.
Yeah, so I'm actually curious to see if you can play it and do, like, jumping and stuff without it fucking you up.
Yeah. I'm curious too.
Because I don't know if it's good because it has systems to mitigate that, or if it's just me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you never know.
Next thing I want to talk about real quick is Dead Cells.
Oh, yeah.
Because I checked in on it after... I think the last time I played it was a month after it came out in Early Access.
Yeah.
And it's still in Early Access, but I haven't touched it for a long time.
Probably changed fucking immensely. Like, so much.
So, I have not... I only was able... Like, I've only put a little bit of time in it again, and so far... I can already tell that they've made a lot of the changes to how the weapons and stuff work, which is cool.
Good.
They still all feel very good, but the thing that's kind of changed about them is, actually more like less so the weapons and more so like the leveling system. Because before, or I don't know, leveling system before you would get scrolls and they would do things like add health or add stamina or add stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think they removed the stamina bar and replaced it with cooldowns on stuff. And
I remember they had cooldowns on a lot of stuff already, like grenades and activatable items like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of them have cooldowns. And I don't remember, like, it's been so long that I don't actually know how much of this is, like... I know that a lot of it's changed, but I don't know how much of it's changed. But one of the things that I know for sure that they've changed is every weapon has a color associated with it now. Red, green, or blue. And they're called, like, brutality tactics and something else. Maybe equipment.
Yeah, I definitely don't remember that.
So they're now color coded, and when you get a scroll, you have to choose between improving red weapons, blue weapons, or green weapons. And each one has a different, like, amount of health it also gives you. So you might be like, well, I'm mostly using green weapons, but blue weapons gives more health this time, so I guess I'm gonna go with blue if I want more health, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
Um,
Okay.
so they've changed kind of how you progress, and those actually like kind of double down with the kind of weapons you want to use. So it's like, okay, this run I have this freeze blast thing,
Right.
so I'm going to mainly use or mainly upgrade blue because I kind of want to keep rolling with this particular ability.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different. I already noticed that they've added like a bunch of new weapons.
Are you sure they added a bunch of new weapons, or did you just unlock a bunch of new weapons?
No, because you
'Cause I know
can
there
always
was a
see.
lot of weapons I couldn't
Yeah.
unlock.
Yeah, you could always kind of see which weapons were soon to be unlockable. I don't know.
Right.
It's hard to tell because like there are weapons that's like maybe you just never found the blueprints for, but I can tell that there's definitely some that they added for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And ones that I found that I didn't need to find the blueprints for, like I didn't have to unlock, but weapons that I hadn't seen before. So I'm pretty
Right.
sure that they added stuff. That's like freaking out at my door. But yeah, I like. It seems like they've put a lot more stuff into it. I'm gonna spend more time with it because, like I said, I haven't progressed too far in it, but I was really interested in checking it out again. And I guess I should probably say what it is because we should probably be better about, reminding people what games are. Dead Cell is kind of like a
Dead Cells is.
Dead Cells is a roguelite Castlevania like inspired game. It's
Like,
less so about
specifically the night specifically.
It reminds me a little bit of,
yeah, well,
from a
yeah.
gameplay standpoint, it reminds me a little bit of Rogue Legacy. I feel like the gameplay in Dead Cells is more refined than Rogue Legacy.
See, here's the funny thing about Rogue Legacy. If you look at Rogue Legacy and compare it to Dead Cells, they took two different things away from Symphony of the Night. Rogue Legacy took like map layout and like locations and stuff from Symphony of the Night, whereas Dead Cells took the combat from Symphony of the Night.
Yeah.
It's less. I mean, there is still a little bit of like Metroidvania in it. You can still like see some of the trappings of it, but it is very much less about backtracking and finding keys to different things and that sort of thing. You still do that to some extent, like after you defeat one of the first bosses, you get an ability to like create vines, which lets you like skip parts of the game. But it's very much about skipping parts of the game rather than using that to get into areas you haven't been to before in this way. So
they can lead to areas that you haven't been to, but it's like a different progression. So like you'll go
that's
from
what I'm saying.
Stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3. So once you get the vines, instead of going to this stage 2, you go to that stage 2 instead.
Well, I would say it's even more like rather than once you get the vines, you skip from stage 1 to stage 4. You know what I mean? Like you skip chunks of the level. But it's not as simple as like a straight line because it does have sort of branching paths.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's not like there's kind of a roof area that you just won't see if you take the toxic sewers path. So I believe I'm not positive about that, but it certainly seems that way. But as a result, the toxic sewer path is like harder than other paths. So yeah, and it kind of has like it's also inspired a little bit by Dark Souls as well, because it has like the equivalent of an Estus flask. When you die, you lose a portion of the number of cells that you had, and you use cells to like upgrade and unlock. Well, not upgrade, but unlock stuff for future runs.
Yeah.
So,
but once you spend them, you're not going to lose them.
Right. So you can put those cells into stuff and then not have to worry about it. But it is like kind of in the same way as Dark Souls. If you die and you lose your souls, they're gone unless you can get back to them. Except in Dead Cells, you can't get back to them.
So they're just gone.
Yeah. There are things that I think let you keep a portion of them when you die, but I don't know if that's just for cells or if it's... Or I don't know if that's just for gold or if it's for cells too. I don't remember.
I don't think it's for cells. Not that I saw anyway. Was available.
So either way, there are definitely some influences from like Dark Souls and stuff there. And you know, it's not like the Dark Souls of, you know, Castlevania roguelikes or whatever, because it's not. Like, roguelikes are hard anyway. But it does have kind of that sort of deliberate combat in some ways, but faster paced and more akin to Symphony of the Night. But even then, I would say it's still faster paced than Symphony of the Night. Even lots of rolling going on. Yeah, so I think Dead Cells was worth it when it came out to pick up. And they definitely seem like they have been on a consistent schedule of adding things, so I would still recommend it. It's $20. Yeah. Very good.
I liked Dead Cells when I played it. But I haven't played it in even longer.
Yeah, same, because again...
Yeah. It felt maybe a little early when I first got it. But it definitely looks like they've added quite a bit. And I think they added, like, map sections, too. It's not just... They haven't just added items. I think they've also added maps. So.
Okay. Well, that's good. Was there another game that we were going to talk about?
I don't think so.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, Overwatch. So we played a little bit of the new character.
You guys played a little bit of the new character.
I think you played a little bit, right?
Yeah, you did.
I played her in the all Bridget deathmatch mode, which is
and I played it.
That's also where I play. I never played it in an actual match either.
No, you definitely played it in a quick play match, Saine. I know you did for sure.
I didn't. I never got it.
Well, one of you.
I was trying. I never got it.
Yeah, I don't think any of us got it.
No, I remember
that you
I
did.
know for sure one of you did. I did not play her in a.
Yeah. No, wait, no.
Maybe I did in like one. I don't know.
I was like sitting around waiting for her, and I was like, well, I'm just not gonna play her because like I don't ever like playing new heroes in all hero deathmatch modes because I don't feel like okay, you can learn how to use their abilities, but you can also just do that in the practice range. So
yeah. Well, the thing is, it's at least you can learn how to use her new abilities against players to do things like stun them and knock them
Yeah,
out
I think it's easier to learn how to the hitboxes for hitting enemies and stuff. But
yeah, the hitboxes for hitting one enemy.
No. Here's the thing. You should be able to get like a pretty good idea based on what her health is like, and against like even just a bunch of Bridgets, right? You should be able to get a good idea of what the rest of the game is like if you played a lot of it.
I see where you're coming from, but I think that it's even harder. I think it's even harder to learn that in an actual game. Like, I feel like this is a nice, like in an all Bridget mode. I think that's a nice stepping stone.
Yeah.
Before, like, because if you just wait until you're in an actual quick play game, then not only do you have to learn how all of her abilities work and like what kind of people's hitboxes are, but you also have to learn strategy at the same time. Where I think it's easier to learn those separate. I think it's easier to learn how the abilities work and then learn the strategy afterward.
But
so.
You already know. You already know all of the other Overwatch characters. You played this game for 2 years. You already know them.
So
the
why,
basic strategies.
Why have any problem with just playing Bridget with a bunch of Bridgets? You already
because
know
you're never going to run into that situation in a real game. It's never ever going to happen because
but again,
if what you're saying is that you already know all the strategies, then why does it matter at all?
Yeah.
But
because
back up though. Like
okay, sure. Let's actually talk about Bridget.
Yeah. So Bridget has I think her left click is a shield. Her right click is her left click is a melee weapon
attack, and then her right click is a shield.
Her right click is a shield. When you're holding right click, I think it's E to do a dash. Or when you're holding left click or holding right click and you hit left click, you do a dash that stuns enemies.
Yeah.
Unless they're blocking with their own shield.
Yeah.
Which won't ever happen.
Unless you're fighting Reinhardt or another Bridget, it could happen.
Yeah.
Don't say it will never happen because you can fight another Bridget.
Okay,
Yeah.
but wouldn't happen as often as fighting 6 of them.
Well, yeah.
Well,
definitely,
yeah, but
You would have an opportunity.
but then you can very
use your
obviously see that
shield
because like
bash.
one of the first things I did when I played Bridget was I bum rushed a Widowmaker who was taking advantage of the fact that everyone was playing Bridget, and then I bum rushed a Sombra who was also taking advantage of the fact that everyone was playing Bridget, killing them both.
also, I had lots of practice about getting around other Bridgets and stunning them from behind.
yeah.
Because
That
there was
too.
lots of opportunities to practice that.
I remember there was a Reinhardt in this mode too, and I did that with him as well, or just like had him start swinging, then stunned him and started smacking.
She's actually relatively strong against Reinhardt's shield because since she uses a melee attack, it goes through his shield.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yes, melee
A little bit,
attacks go
yes.
through Reinhardt's shield. All melee attacks. Other Reinhardt hammers will go through Reinhardt's shields too.
Even like Genji's sword attack? Not his like
Yes.
ultimate sword, but his like melee sword.
Yes, all melee attacks go through Reinhardt's. They just ignore
That's
it.
weird. I didn't realize that it worked that way because like characters that
Yeah,
have
it's-
beam weapons don't penetrate, so
Yeah. Well, it's frustrating that melee attacks go through Reinhardt's shield sometimes because I'll be sitting there with 50 health and 2,000 shields, and then somebody will just run up to me and go.
Yeah.
well, I think it only can if you get close enough to him.
No, it straight up does not damage shields at all. Like if you try and melee attack Winston's shield, it won't damage it. Melee attacks only hit players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, again,
Bridget's.
back to
I want to point out that Bridget's melee attack flail, it heals everybody in a radius around her when you hit, including herself. So it can make her like deceptively tanky.
It says someone
But I'm
says
not
that
sure how.
it says that Reinhardt and his shield will both take full damage from a single melee attack.
Oh really?
So actually, melee attacks are really good.
So
against
actually,
his
it's worse.
yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
The other thing that I like that Bridget can do, it's like a 5-second cooldown, and she can. It basically, from the feeling of it, I don't know the actual numbers, but it pretty much just feels like it heals people to full health. And then if they're at full health, it gives them armor instead. It's just a point and click, like, whoop, you're full health, good job. 5 seconds later, oh, now you're full health too. Congratulations.
Yeah, her heal feels really strong. Although I think and I want to say it feels longer than that, but I don't remember. And she's
It was
not
like
on the
5 or
wiki
6
yet, so the
seconds
people
when I was
don't know her
watching the
numbers
cooldown.
yet.
Yeah.
But anyway, about it, it's I love Bridget. I think that she's a ton of fun because she plays like she is a healer that can just bum rush people, and she plays like how I play Diva.
Oh, and
Just
also her
stuff the
ultimate.
fuck
Like
in.
we didn't even get through all of her
Yeah.
abilities. Her
Yeah,
ultimate is also like a movement speed buff that gives armor instead of
Yeah.
shields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which so
That-
it's like a slightly worse Lucio ult.
Now see that I think is the like it gives constant armor, right? And that I feel like I don't want to harp on this too much, but that I think is the reason that I really thought that it was pointless to play in that mode, because I had no idea how much damage I could take because there were always 6 people giving me constant armor, which effectively made me and the enemy team invincible. Because like all 6 Bridgets would ult at once and they would just regen.
Yeah, but that's just, like-
100 armor a second.
Like you would, but obviously you wouldn't be able to. That is like only for a short amount of time though. Like
Yeah.
It
I don't know why
actually-
you keep going back to that.
the
Like
armor-
I
the armor
understand you
lasts
don't
forever.
think it's useful, but I don't think that's pertinent to the conversation about talking about what her abilities do. So
Yeah.
Sure.
yeah, and you already talked about her heal. Did she have another ability? I forget.
Yes. She can swing her flail out. It feels like it goes about 20 map units or 20. It's about the same size as a roadhog hook, except instead of
Oh yeah,
pulling
it's a
somebody to
knockback.
you, it knocks them away from you.
Boy, is it satisfying to execute people with that though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It does a lot of damage.
Like when you kill someone with a roadhog hook, it's just kind of funny.
Yeah.
But when you kill someone with a Bridget.
with Bridget's
Yeah,
flail.
like
grapple
flail.
them. They're like walking away from you, and then you flail at them.
Yeah. Also,
taking away that
I
last
feel
bit
like
of
it
health.
has a smaller hitbox. I think it has a considerably smaller hitbox than Roadhog.
I
Hook.
think
Oh.
what it is it's not hit scan. I think that actually has to travel to hit them, whereas Roadhog's hook is hit scan.
No,
Like,
it's not just that.
It does.
I'm not sure if that is true or not, but it definitely has a smaller hitbox.
Okay.
So, like you have to actually connect with especially smaller models like Tracer and stuff. You actually have to connect with them, whereas it feels like Roadhog, you shoot a black hole that sucks people up sometimes.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's really satisfying to execute someone with that, especially in all Bridget mode when everyone is like hard to kill anyway. But
Yeah.
Also, I found it really satisfying just to stun someone and then smack them with a flail.
it feels really good being a support and just getting in people's face like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I kind of like about it.
Yeah, so
Like, you can kind of do that with Lucio, but it's not as effective. Like, Bridget is designed to do that, whereas Lucio is like, you can do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that compares to Lucio, because Lucio definitely can get away with doing stuff like that, but
he's not built exactly for that.
he's
Right.
built like it's kind of different. Like Bridget is built for taking the punishment, where Lucio is built for dodging the punishment.
Yeah.
So you can do the same kind of thing, but you have to play in a slightly different way.
Right.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
It's she like in kind of the same way that Mei feels like a defensive offense, like a
Yeah.
tank, like an off-tank offense. Bridget feels like a off-tank support, so it's really interesting because you can be in the front line as a support, which you could only kind of do with Moira before.
Yeah.
And
And again, that's because
the
she
only
was
reason you
taken
could do it with
away
Moira is because you could run away.
Yeah. There is something else that they changed. This is on live. Bridget is only on the PTR right now. We just tried her out on that. But on live, they made a change that I was really excited about seeing. And I was like, okay, but these are kind of small numbers. Maybe it won't affect anything. They gave a lot of quality of life to Sombra. I forget everything they did, but the main talking points here are that they finally, after like a year, slightly decreased the spread on her gun, and it's by like 0.3.
Here, I
or
have the
something.
numbers.
Okay.
So these are all of the changes. She no
Okay.
longer gains ult from health pack healing.
which kind of sucks.
Her
but-
weapon spread is decreased by 10%.
which doesn't sound like a lot. That is huge. Like playing it, you can feel the difference. I was like topping the kill boards like consistently.
Her hack speed has been increased from 0.65 to 8 seconds, or 0.8 seconds to 0.65 seconds.
Also, sounds small, pretty big. It's the difference
0.15
between
seconds. That's
getting-
actually pretty.
it's
That's pretty considerable when you're already talking about a sub 1 second thing.
yeah. It's like it is legitimately the difference between getting off a hack and getting hit before you get it off. So, was there anything else?
That's like an 8% change. 8%.
Yeah.
Hacking will now disable more abilities. Basically,
Oh,
any
that
ability.
was the big
Yeah.
Well, let me finish reading it.
thing. Sorry.
Basically, any ability that requires a button press will also be disabled. So a list will includes Genji's double jump / wall climb, and Hanzo's wall climb, Pharah's hover jets, Lucio's wall ride, and Mercy's gliding.
Yeah.
This
That
has been
is
a long time coming.
that
like,
is
holy
the big
shit.
thing. Oh,
And-
her EMP.
And
Right.
if crossfade is running, it will also be disabled.
Yes. Fantastic. And her EMP is no longer blocked by small things like signpost, which was like the thing to me that was the number one complaint I had about Sombra. Like, her EMP felt useless because for no good reason it would just randomly not hit people. And now I understand why. It was because people were standing behind like signposts and shit
Yeah.
by accident. Like, that's not even like a
I don't
thing
see
where
that here in the list of changes, so I don't know if that's
I do remember hearing
remember
that, reading that in the list of changes. That was it was somewhere.
Oh yeah, no longer
because
blocked as small objects.
Yeah, that was something that like there's no way that you could skillfully play around that. Sombra surprises people with her EMP. Like you were just accidentally standing behind a signpost, you know? So like taking that away from people like the just luckily dodging the EMP gives a lot of power to Sombra because a lot of her power is in her ult, even though they want to take it more away.
They also made it so that you can see enemy health bars when they're below 100% instead of 100 or lower than 50%.
Yeah.
She still can
but
only
she can
see through walls at 50%.
Yeah. Let me read it instead of like talking over me as I'm continuing to try to read it.
Sure.
And her translocator duration was increased from 15 seconds to 20 seconds.
Ooh, I didn't even realize that one.
Yeah, so now it lasts 5 seconds longer.
It's basically just a laundry list of quality of life buffs for Sombra, and some of them even direct buffs. The fact that she can now disable more abilities, I think, is the strongest thing, because I felt like her hack was pretty useless against most of the cast. Like, hacking Genji, like, okay, sure, he couldn't dash away, but he would still just bunny hop up and down, making people who couldn't aim impossible to hit him. But now he can't do that.
Also, her ultimate will charge slightly less fast now because of the health pack thing, but it affects more abilities now, so maybe that'll equal out.
Exactly.
I'll have to play more games with a Sombra in it to see, or as Sombra to see how it really changes the dynamic of the game, because in the past it just really feels like Sombra doesn't bring much to a team.
It really fucks up Pharah now.
Yeah, it finally fucks up more than just...
And Genji, and I feel like that's good. And since it completely disables Lucio's heal, or like it like gets rid of his currently running song, so...
Before you had to catch Lucio while he was on speed in order to disable his healing, now he just can't heal at all.
Heal or speed.
Yeah, heal or speed.
Yeah, it turns off whatever's running now, too.
Yeah. Just
Finally,
really good. Which makes sense because that's like a mechanic. That's like an electronic object. The fact that it didn't turn it off before is just nonsense.
Well, I don't necessarily like. You can't look at what makes sense lore-wise, because if that were the case, Mercy wouldn't even have a gun. So
I mean, yeah, but unfortunately, unfortunately, originally it was things like couldn't disable certain things because they weren't technology was part of the reason that Sombra couldn't disable certain things, some of which have been changed, like Genji's jump.
Yeah,
or Pharah's hover jets.
I think the problem with Sombra has always been that her abilities don't affect enough things.
Yeah,
I almost still feel like it's still that way.
Yeah,
we'll see if this fixes that, because maybe this is like enough, right? But I don't think it is. So I guess we'll continue to see how things change for Sombra. I don't know.
I felt like it was enough, but I was like, before these changes, I was already a pretty good Sombra. Like when you compare to other Sombras, because Sombra kind of generally was bad, and the people who played her also were bad.
Yeah. I think the weapon spread is the biggest thing, because
definitely.
Because now you'll hit a higher percentage of headshots when you are sneaking behind people to execute them. Yeah. And I think that was one of her biggest issues. She was an offense who couldn't kill anyone, hardly.
Right. Right. I think her spread is pretty comparable to Tracer, but her fall off is a lot longer.
Her spread isn't comparable to Tracer. I think Tracer's the wrong person to compare her to, because she has really, really high spread.
Yeah.
Probably more similar to Soldier. Except Soldier takes longer to spread, but at the maximum spread of Soldiers, I think it's about the same.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, even Soldier. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of who else has even hit scan automatic weapons. Whatever the case.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that.
It was fun.
So probably the last half hour we're going to talk about Oscars, but do you want to take a break?
Yeah, let's take
Yeah.
a short break first.
Okay, so like 5 minutes. We'll come back at 5:45. That sound good?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'll see you guys then.
All right. 5:45. We'll be back in a couple minutes. And we're back.
Okay.
You're weird, Dalsson. Okay, for the last
What?
probably 30
Hold on,
minutes
no,
of the
we have
show,
to go back. What? I'm sorry. Did I miss something that happened?
he was just staring at the camera, being a weirdo.
Oh, this is some crackers, man. Shit, he's just like, yeah, we're back. Hey, fuck you, by the way.
Okay, so for the last half hour or so of the show, we're going to talk about the Oscars, probably, and then a little bit of other
Isn't
news.
there like at least one game or something? Let's get
At least one game. Yeah, I'll just go quickly.
Game?
I'll just quickly go through some of the gaming news.
Yeah.
There's not much
Yeah.
to talk about this week.
Yeah.
Let me switch this to news. So the first thing I want to talk about is there is a bug with the Switch, or I guess we don't even know if it's a bug necessarily, but
Right.
apparently the Switch has stopped counting playtime after 1 year. So
Oh, wow.
if you're worried about how many hours you've played in Legend of Zelda, you might want to like write it down before it resets the counter.
Yeah, that's
Jeez.
kind of weird.
Yeah, it apparently switches to a first played X days ago after
Hmm.
basically the anniversary of that year, so
Huh.
yeah, I don't know.
You know what I would like to find funny, or what I do find funny, is that the
Would like
the
to find
article
funny,
here
but
says
don't.
the article here says Kirk's 145 hours have been diminished to a sad first played 10, as though 145 hours in a video game is something to be proud of. Ha!
Fucking bitch.
I don't know, like some games.
I
don't
have
know.
over 600 hours of
I don't know,
Padme time.
especially in a game like Breath of the Wild, like you'd spend a lot more time playing that.
Yeah.
Well, you could. Actually, they track I think the hero's tracker or whatever they call it, the hero's path, I think. They track you for the first 100 hours, I believe. Or first 200 hours, I believe.
Jeez.
So that tracks you quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
The next piece of news. Oh, is this?
Which
Oh
one?
wait, hold on.
Concerned Ape.
Is it concerned? Actually, it just
Yeah,
says
it's Concerned
Chucklefish.
Ape.
It says Chucklefish. It doesn't.
Huh. Well, if it's it says Chucklefish. Chucklefish was always the producer. of
Yeah, I don't
Stardew
know.
Valley,
Okay, I don't know if
Concerned
this
Ape
is.
was
Yeah,
the guy who actually made it. And if they're saying Stardew Valley, then they're probably
I think
talking
it
about
just. I think it
Concerned
just
Ape?
might be.
Or maybe it's just Chucklefish.
No,
Anyway
yeah,
about
okay,
it,
I think-
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Oh, okay, yes. Okay, this is developed. Okay, so the developer of Stardew Valley is announced their new game called Spellbound, which will be published again by Chucklefish. And it's
Oh, fuck.
Chucklefuck.
Chuckle,
And it's about a like a spell school a la Harry Potter or something like that.
Uh-huh.
I will
Which
just put it
academia?
onto the screen for a minute. Yeah. I don't know. This is all we got.
I'm excited for this because if Chucklefish makes a game with like the other one, if Concerned Apes makes like a Stardew Valley sort of ish deal, but it's like going through a wizarding school, that sounds cool as fuck. I love Stardew Valley. I thought it was like my best favorite game of the year that it came out. I like played a shit ton of it, and I feel like I should probably go back to it at some point. But I'm super excited for this game now that I've heard about it and want to play the hell out of it, and probably will play the hell out of it. I love Chucklefish's other games, Starbound as well.
It says it's a wizard school sim.
That sounds fucking great. Sounds wonderful. I am gonna play your game. I hope that whatever's concerning you goes away, Mr. Ape. Make good
Also, I'm also again.
I've been
confused
waiting
if
for
it's-
you to make that joke for like a year.
video.
Actually, I think maybe it's not made by the same guy. I can't tell.
If it is published by Chucklefuck, it's probably has like the same team of motherfuckers that worked on at least Starbound, doing something within it. And if that is the case, I am expecting good things because they hadn't let me down before. Chucklefuck, you've been good. You've been good to me.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the only
Video game news.
yeah, that's all we got.
Wonderful.
Alrighty then. Time to get into the fun shit, ladies and gentlemen. You guys ready for the fucking Oscars? I can't hear you. Okay. All right. So this has been a long time coming, but it finally came at the date that it was predestined to arrive, that the Oscar committee set. But and I've done a lot of talking about, oh, I'll just talk about this when the actual Oscars hit. I'll just talk about this when the actual Oscars hit. And the day has fucking come. Let's just talk about this shit. So.
Oh, okay. Just real quick.
Okay.
It is not. It is not the Stardew Valley developers' new game.
No.
That is a different game. That has not been announced yet.
Oh.
I think the only reason why everyone's confused about it is because literally everyone is reporting it as Stardew Valley's publisher talks about this game.
Yeah.
Because I think that Stardew Valley is the most
game.
It's the most successful Chucklefish game.
Yeah. It reminds me of that fucking that article. You know, a lot of people say video games are made by one person, but they're really not. It's always a team, says John Carmack, creator of Doom.
Yeah. Creator of Doom. He did do a lot of Doom. Actually, I think maybe Doom was just him. I don't actually know.
No, Doom was John Carmack and John the other guy.
Oh,
John Carmack and John the other guy.
John the other guy.
Who he was.
And then there was that one.
His last name was just lost to history.
If you were to say his last name, I would be like, oh fuck, I'm a moron, I'm a dumb idiot because everyone knows this man. And then there's the Lovecraft guy who was super into Quake, the guy who was like Mormon.
H.P. Lovecraft.
Who was the level designer.
Yeah.
There is a whole id team that did Wolfenstein 3D, Doom, Doom 2, and Quake. Well, they sort of split off on Quake because it was Quake was a mess. Anyway, the Oscars.
Yeah. Back to what we were actually talking about.
John Carmack. Yeah. So a lot of times when I talk about like the downfall and the death of Hollywood, I talk about it like I'm thrilled and excited to see the rubble and sit there with the popcorn and watch like the burning cities burn. And it's like, yes, I am, but that's just going to be a sort of temporary. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be temporary. What I'm really excited for are the flowers that are going to bloom out of this. And honestly, this was a really, really positive Oscars for that. I was surprised. I was expecting to like be angry and mad about all of the things that happened in this Oscars, and I wasn't. Goddamn, good shit happened. I mean, you know, fucking Coco won Best Animated. Who fucking is surprised? But everything else, though, was almost a little bit surprising. It was a good year for people who had been snubbed a lot, and a good year for people who had been kicked down a lot. So, let's start out with just fucking actress in a supporting role. Allison Janney for I, Tonya. I was surprised that I, Tonya was even in the Oscars. I didn't know that.
Didn't that movie come out like 10 years ago?
No. What are you thinking about?
Yeah, the one with Will Smith.
Oh, I Am Legend?
No. He had a mechanical arm.
I, Robot?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay. Anyway, supporting role. It went to Sam Rockwell for 3 Billboards. I've talked about how much I'm happy that Sam Rockwell is winning a bunch of awards before because I love Sam Rockwell so much. I think he's one of my favorite actors working. He's like, in almost all of his roles, he's hilarious. This one was a little bit of a different role for him, but he plays it very well, and I'm happy. I feel like he definitely deserved this. Even after like a bunch of other ones, including Woody Harrelson for the same fucking movie, I felt like Sam Rockwell was the one who deserved to win this. Then that was fun. We're busting through these early ones because like I hadn't seen any of these foreign language films.
Have we talked about any of the winners yet? You've just been rambling for 5 minutes now.
No, he mentioned he said who won actress and actor in a supporting role.
Yeah, that was the last like two things that I did. Foreign language film, Fantastic Woman 1. I haven't seen any of these. Don't have much to say. Documentary of short. I also have not seen any of the. I haven't seen any of like the next like two.
There's surprisingly 2 documentary shorts about traffic.
You want to just like skip over the ones that none of us have anything to say about, like the documentary stuff and.
All right, fair enough.
Original song.
Yeah, Coco won original song. I actually feel like Coco deserves this one because that song was stuck in my head for years. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like of those. And then in animated feature film, I didn't see the Breadwinner, so I can't speak to it, but of these nominated, Coco looks like it was going to be the winner anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Because who was going to have Boss Baby be an animated feature film?
Who was going to vote Ferdinand?
There was a movie on here that was every frame of it was hand painted.
Yeah, I could see Loving Vincent maybe, but I don't know. I feel like Coco. I feel like the conversation around Coco was gonna have Coco win. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like the conversation around it was a Pixar movie was going to have Coco win.
Yeah.
Those 2 fucking Chinese things. I don't think I actually told that story on this podcast.
Well, I also think that it was culturally relevant at the time, and the Oscars definitely gives brownie points for like how culturally relevant it is.
They do now. Didn't used to, but they do now. They got called out on that shit, and now they definitely do.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
I don't think I ever told the.
I was not talking about the Oscars so white movement. That's not exactly what I was getting at, but
okay. I don't think I told the 2 Chinese things that nobody fucking saw story on the podcast. So, if you don't know, there's a joke that's been going around for a lot of people who watch a lot of animated films. Back in, I think it was 2014, there was this quote-unquote interview with a person who votes for the Oscars, a brutally honest interview for people for the Oscar, and the man, like, goes on a rant about, like, best animated feature, about how he was horribly disappointed that the Lego movie didn't get in. Is like, I'm so pissed off that fucking Lego didn't get in over those 2 fucking Chinese things that nobody fucking saw, talking about The Tale of Princess Kaguya, a Japanese film, and Song of the Sea, an Irish film, which I talked about earlier today. And both of you know exactly how much I loved both of those films.
Oh,
because
yeah.
in that year, I wouldn't shut the fuck up about
I do think that Lego Movie was a really good movie, so I could see it being nominated, but to say that it should have been nominated in place of 2 Chinese films, that's kind of ridiculous.
Both of which were fucking
to say that it should have been like I can't speak to Princess Kaguya, I didn't see it, but to say that it should be nominated in place of Song of the Sea, I definitely disagree with. Like, I could see it I definitely should have taken a spot. Lego Movie was fantastic in all rights, but
did you see
to put it over
right?
Song of the Sea?
Yeah, exactly.
To push Song of the Sea out of nominations for it.
Yeah, and
like,
Princess Kaguya, I would say even more so, just because Princess Kaguya was so stylistic and so affecting. Like when I talked about Your Name, the way that I felt about that was the same way that I felt about Princess Kaguya, and that's why it became my second favorite movie of the year. Like
the Lego Movie is among some of my favorite animated films ever, though. So I could see why, like, because there's reason, like, we're sitting here going, man, I can't believe Ferdinand was nominated over Your Name. I mean, so I can see how.
Yeah,
it's not the same. Don't get me wrong, but I could see how someone could be disappointed that something didn't get nominated that they really liked.
Yeah, and the reason he was disappointed was mostly because no one fucking saw those things. No one even knows about them. No one gives a shit. I'm over here like, hey, yo,
I saw them.
Yourself.
Yeah, I saw them.
My dick, you fucking piece of shit. Your ass didn't see them. You readily admitted the only fucking animated movies you watched were the ones your fucking kid watched, you piece of shit. Why are you even voting, you cocksucker? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
I'm still mad. It's been 2 goddamn... I'm still mad about the fact that fucking Brave beat goddamn Paranorman fucking years ago. I'm pissed. Anyway.
Yeah, Brave had the girl power thing going on.
Brave was trash. Fuck it.
Yeah, but that doesn't change what I said.
Brave was like one of the worst Disney princess movies.
I mean, like, in its defense, it was coming off the heels of Cars 2, and it was much, much better than that. But
but that's not exactly a high bar.
Fucking incredible. Yeah, that was a really low bar. Pixar was kind of trash for like a little while. It's coming back though. Let's be honest. Like I'm talking shit about the fact that Coco is like a Pixar movie, and obviously won, but Coco was really
Coco,
good.
what?
Yeah.
I could even with your name in the running, I could see that
Coco
winning
winning.
anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I'm not
it
too
was
upset
really
about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Animated adapted screenplay. Call Me by Your Name won. Logan actually got a fucking nomination for an Oscar.
I'm sad
That
it didn't
surprises me.
win. I'm sad it
Yeah.
didn't
I
win.
am kind of sad it didn't
I'm
win.
not
Logan was
surprised at
incredible.
all it
Yeah.
didn't win, but
Well, what was it adapted from?
That book.
the Old Man Logan comics, technically.
Like,
It
sort
was-
of?
What was Logan adapted from?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was
Nothing
Logan
in
adapted
particular.
From?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah, no,
adapted
no,
from
no.
Old Man Logan directly.
It
was
was
adapted from X-Men.
yeah.
Well, it's the same thing that like Apocalypse Now is an adapted screenplay for Heart of Darkness, even though they take place in completely different time periods. They just have like the same character,
Right.
and
Yeah,
it's the
well.
same basic theming.
Right, okay.
Versus also Molly's Game and Mudbound and the Disaster Artist.
I'm
which,
I'm surprised. Well, I'm kind of surprised that the Disaster Artist didn't win either.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
I had a
wait
feeling
second.
Logan wouldn't win. I was thinking that the Disaster Artist might have won this,
Yeah.
but I don't actually know anything about Call Me by Your Name, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It like
Call Me-
just briefly skimming over its Wikipedia page, it definitely does look more Oscar bait than any of these other ones. So
Okay, animated short film is on here because I do want to talk about that when we get to it. Original screenplay, Get Out won. Yay!
Yay!
Good work, Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
Did it.
it
I'm
beat
happy for you.
Lady Bird and Shape of Water.
It beat Lady Bird. It beat fucking Lady Bird. Good job.
That's
And
kind of
Shape
crazy.
of Water, yeah. And 3 Billboards.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah. Good work. Good
I
work,
don't
Get Out.
I didn't actually watch the Big Six, so
Never
Oh,
even
okay.
heard of that.
I've heard of
did
it.
watch Yeah, I've heard of it too. Actor in the leading role. Here we go. Now we're finally getting to the people who were snubbed for fucking years. Remember back years ago when everyone was like, "Oh, fucking Leonardo DiCaprio should have got an Oscar." Leonardo DiCaprio's the best. Really, really isn't. He didn't
I don't
deserve it.
know. I feel like he has been snubbed. I feel like he was snubbed for much longer than he should have been. Like, he had played in some really good roles, and it wasn't until he played in The Revenant, which was the most Oscar-baity movie he's ever done, that he
especially
won.
because it was like
So
and fair enough. But I never felt like he really deserved one.
he was great
always
in The Great
playing-
Gatsby. Did you watch the new version
yeah,
of
I
The Great
did watch
Gatsby?
the new
He was
Great
amazing in
Gatsby.
that.
He was pretty good in that, but I always like, and I feel like that one was specifically, but that one wasn't like the best movie.
Well,
Like,
there was also
all things combined. He was also in Inception, but for a lot of the movies,
I wouldn't
especially,
say
like,
Inception
from
was his best.
Inception to Departed and all of like that, it's very much just Leonardo DiCaprio playing Leonardo DiCaprio. It's like Matt Damon.
I don't know. I don't quite agree, but
And well, anyway, when all of these were doing this, and when when people were talking about that, I was like, yeah, okay, who gives a shit? Fucking Gary Oldman is constantly snubbed, and he disappears into his goddamn roles. Guess who fucking won? Gary Oldman. I'm happy about that. My man fucking finally took some shit.
I saw that
He
movie. It was
finally
very
got
good.
it. Well,
Winston Churchill.
Darkest Hour?
yeah,
Yeah.
he did it.
That biopic
that
of
man-
Winston Churchill.
Yeah, that man was subbed for too long, and I'm super happy that he won. Good job. Good job, he did it. Frances McDormand won for actress in the leading role in 3 Billboards, beating Sally Hawkins in Shape of Water, and even Saoirse Rowan in Lady Bird.
That's a little sad. That's a little sad because the lead in Shape of Water was like
Yeah.
Speaking
Really,
of
Sally
Song of the
Hawkins
Sea,
was
how
really
the fuck do you
fucking
say
good.
that name?
Yeah, I know, it's one of those. Fucking.
I
Saoirse
would have been
Rowan was
pissed
great
if Meryl
too.
Streep won. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
I don't care about. I'm fine with any of these other ones winning, but I would have been kind of pissed if Meryl Streep won. I don't know.
Saoirse Rowan, well, okay, let's be honest. This is like her first acting job. She did fucking incredible, and getting nominated for like being this early in your career is a fucking win.
If
Anyway
Meryl
about
if
it,
Meryl
but-
Streep won, it would feel like Hollywood loving Hollywood. That's
Oh,
all.
yeah.
That's what it would feel like. I don't know.
And that's the weird thing. Like, I was expecting that from this particular Oscars, especially with all of the crazy shit going on with all of the, like, people getting called out and Hollywood collapsing under itself. It feels like Hollywood needed something to be like, I love Hollywood and Hollywood loves me. But they didn't.
Right.
It was very, very giving to the sort of smaller, crazier ideas that didn't come out of Hollywood.
Also, The
Yeah.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
DiCaprio was really good in.
Oh, yeah. DiCaprio was really good in Wolf of Wall Street, but I
Django
mean,
Unchained, but I don't think anybody wanted to acknowledge
Yeah.
that movie existed that year.
yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, it got like a lot of Oscar noms.
Did it? I don't know. I remember that movie being very divisive for political reasons, but anyway.
Yeah, it was divisive for political reasons, but everyone like loved it. Aside from that, before we get into Best Director and Best Picture, I'm gonna do those last because those are the fucking big ones. Production design, Shape of Water won, which is great. Cinematography, here's another one that was snubbed for a long time.
I'm a little sad. Backing up to production design, I'm a little sad that Blade Runner didn't win here because Blade Runner's production quality was fucking amazing. And The Shape of Waters was also really good, but I don't think that they're even in the same ballpark.
Beauty and the Beast was nominated for production design too, which
I could see that.
Yeah,
I can definitely see it. Like, I think that's the only live action Disney movie that I've seen
Jungle Book
ever
was really good.
that like really
Oh, yeah.
yes, it was great. But the design behind Beauty and the Beast, just,
Beauty and the
like,
Beast, it has
it
so
almost-
many moving parts, man.
yeah, it really captured the Disney magic of looking like an animated, like an old hand animated film, except it was live action,
right.
like entirely, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Just wanted to say something quick about that.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Honestly, I could see all five of these movies in production design, but I feel like Blade Runner was so far ahead of the rest of them that I
Yeah.
am kind of surprised that one lost to Shape of Water. But
Yeah.
that being said, I love Shape of Water. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but I just, man, Blade Runner.
Blade Runner, like, from a technical standpoint, Blade Runner was a fucking triumph. Again.
But it won
Like
cinematography.
Yeah, but it runs cinematography. And another snub, Roger Deakins has been fucking snubbed for an Oscar, even though he's one of the best cinematographers working today and is one of the most fucking unique styles of cinematography. It's great to finally see him win. You did it, Roger. They fucking given people who were snubbed a million times in a row their fucking dues.
The beauty
Finally, God damn it.
the beauty of the cinematography in Blade Runner was it wasn't distracting.
Yeah.
Like, because that I was complaining about that when we were talking about Annihilation last week, but the cinematography in Blade Runner was so great because they had all of these like vistas and scenes that like could have been a painting, and like I would not be surprised if you would look back at like concept art if those weren't just like shot for shot remakes of some of the concept art. It like very beautiful without being like super obvious about we're trying to do something fancy here. One of the scenes that I think about the most is that scene where Joe is flying in his like hover car through the tall buildings, and you have that like there's like sort of a path in the buildings as he's going through downtown Vegas or whatever.
Los Angeles,
Well, no, because
no, Vegas.
Yeah, when he was
okay.
going to Vegas,
Vegas.
there was like this.
Specifically Vegas,
It was like there's something just really super cool about that scene that I always like. When I think of Blade Runner, I think about that scene. So I don't know.
And then like there's specifically moments, all of the inside of the Wallace compound where he's sitting around like the big lake of water, and it's all just incredibly dark. All of that stuff, the yellow tones in the Wallace compounds, the yellow tones in Vegas, the multicolored bright tones of the fucking Los Angeles, the San Francisco ruins, the hobocracy of that, the sort of gray trash tones of that.
Yeah, I liked, and all of it has such great color palette to it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like you could just look at the color palette and know exactly where you were at. Like the blue for very like downtown LA at night, like the like brown orange that for Vegas, like you were saying, like it's just so spot on and perfect.
Yeah, And there's this one shot that I really appreciated more and more as I rewatched the movie. There's a very specific shot of like the old Tyrell Corporation, sort of with all of its lights completely shut off, being completely over, and then just it sort of like moves to a shot of the Wallace Corporation, these three big towers, almost entirely hidden in smoke, just looming over Tyrell. It was wonderful. Wonderful. Good
Yeah,
shit,
it
Roger
did a lot.
Deakins.
It told a lot of story through its visuals.
Yeah, you did it. You
Really
fucking
good.
did it, finally. Sound mixing and sound editing went to Dunkirk, because Hollywood likes jerk off fucking...
Oh, you're skipping costume design?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This is actually a little important. Phantom Thread won costume design as it fucking deserves, because it's a movie about a guy who designs
Yeah, I would
dresses.
have been. Yeah, I don't know. Like this one was probably a tough one because.
Oh yeah, Beauty and the Beast.
Because
too,
all
though.
four,
Let's be
like,
honest.
I have not seen Victoria and Abdul, but the rest of
I've
these
never
four
heard
are
of
like
Victoria,
are
but-
definitely like period pieces that feel
Yeah.
like they were.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
they had good costume design in Beauty and the Beast, but I feel like there wasn't anything really unique to it. It was just Victorian era costumes.
No, I don't. I disagree. Like, there's no way. There's no way that movie would have been good if they fucked up Belle's dress. You know what I mean?
People
fair.
have been complaining that they fucked up Belle's dress.
They did no such thing.
And like Gaston's outfit, like I feel like
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
the
that would look
costuming, like granted, I would not say that Beauty on the Beast was at the same level as some of these other ones, but
Yeah.
it did have really strong costume design. Darkest Hour looked very much like the period that it was set in, so like that. It's always hard with like total period pieces because like, well, of course you made it look like everything looked like at that time, so
Yeah.
like in a way that's less creative because it's harder to do. To not like to have it set in something sort of fictional.
Remember last year, Oscar-winning film Suicide Squad?
What?
Yeah, but
About
actually,
Star
in
Trek?
fairness, that was the best part of that movie. The costume
Yeah,
design.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, yeah,
barring the
absolutely, I would
Joker.
agree.
Barring the
Yeah.
Joker.
Well,
but-
and that was for like makeup. That wasn't costume design actually. Now that I'm remembering it.
I feel like the Joker's costume gets worse every time they make a new iteration of him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Heath Ledger's Joker.
That was the most recent one
visually
before
was
this
great.
one.
It was
Yeah.
pretty good thematically, I guess, yeah. Because, like, he just looked legitimately insane.
Yeah.
Well, they did a good
Yeah,
job
that
of
was-
having him be in the purple suit without it being like, oh my god, he is in like a ridiculous costume.
Especially with the like super like the way that Nolan tried to make his Batman movies. It's very like city drama. It didn't look out of place.
Yeah,
Or
it looked
just
But
out
the
of
Joker,
place.
I feel like the Joker should look just out of place.
I don't know, because if you compare it to like what was the series that had Batman and Robin, but the first one. I don't know. If you look at
You mean Adam West Batman?
No, I don't mean Adam West.
No.
Batman. No, like okay, here if you compare him to Jack Nicholson Joker.
Yeah.
That he just looked like a cartoon character, like literally a cartoon
Yeah,
character.
that's
and
what
it's
I
like
thought was so great about his Jack Nicholson's
no, but
Joker.
like it.
And that one
For it to
wasn't
be
really
grounded
a
in
portrait.
reality, it can't look exactly like a cartoon character. If you want it to be a cartoon character, watch the cartoons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah,
you're bringing
or-
this into real life, it should look realistic.
Yeah. It was it was the Nolan had like a completely different way of doing it.
And I
unlike,
thought
like,
it
the
was
Zack
better.
Snyder stuff, unlike the Zack Snyder stuff, Nolan did it really well. Nolan did a good job with it. Zack Snyder is not
Zack Snyder
like,
just
as-
made it like dark and edgy for the purpose of being dark and edgy.
And I like to shit talk Christopher Nolan, but he's not a bad director. He knows what he's doing. He makes his shit. It all works. It all fits, and it all rolls the thing. And a lot of people think he's the best director. They're fucking wrong. Speaking of, he got his fucking sound wins.
Oh, but we
Job
should
on
mention,
your-
Phantom Thread did win costume design. If we didn't mention
Phantom. Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah.
That was like the first thing I said.
that. Sound editing. I can't believe Baby Driver lost in sound editing.
Yeah. Honestly, same.
And
That's-
like Dunkirk
that
won
also-
in sound editing and sound mixing,
sound
and
mixing.
both of those I feel like should have gone to Baby Driver. Like,
Yeah, I
and-
saw
okay,
both
now-
of the movies. Now, Dunkirk used its sound very effectively for what it was trying to do, but the stuff that Baby Driver did was so much more interesting, like than that. So much more.
I just don't know how they could have made this decision.
I don't know either, man.
Like this is the kind of decision you look at and you just go, they picked the one that was more Oscar bait. That's how it
Yeah.
feels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
And
if you
this is
actually
what
watch
it's
both of these movies, which I didn't watch Dunkirk in fairness, but
Yeah.
you actually watch these, Baby Driver has some of the best sound editing and mixing I've ever seen in
Same. I
in a movie.
completely agree. It was fucking fantastic.
Like, see, I can kind of see it because, like, I haven't seen either of them. But when you guys were describing Baby Driver to me, you were like, like what you were saying was, oh, the music was so good. The way that they played with the music, there were points where like he would rewind the music to mix what he said, and it all flowed with the action. It was great, right?
Yeah.
But then when I had Dunkirk described to me by Thel, he like as he was describing Dunkirk, I could feel him flashing back to the sound editing that Dunkirk was.
Yeah.
Like he was like, "Bam! Oh, this is happening! Boom, 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 boom! Oh, no, 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 ah!" And
Well, yeah,
like,
yeah.
like
And
he was.
Dunkirk in
so-
Dunkirk was actually really impressive.
So,
I
so
won't
from
say
the way that the two
but-
of you, from
yeah.
the way that these two movies have been described to me, I can understand why Dunkirk would have won.
Yeah.
I don't
But the
know.
thing
It's just
is,
like
the
Baby
reason
Driver
that I
was so
was able to-
creative in
yeah.
how they did it, though.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Of course, I
The
would have to
the
see
reason
it.
that I was able to do that successfully with Dunkirk is because it did what it was trying to do very successfully. But I couldn't describe to you in the same way that I did with Dunkirk what Baby Driver really did. I couldn't give you the feeling. It's one of those things. It's like, oh, you just gotta watch it.
Yeah.
The
way that
Baby
like
Driver-
gunshots were perfectly timed with the soundtrack. Like,
Yeah.
it's just now I want to go back and watch Baby Driver again.
Baby
I'm
Driver
really
was great.
sad. Like,
Oh no, Dalsson died.
It's okay. I'm here. I'm here.
okay, if this feels like a snub, but I don't know. I guess I could
Yeah.
see that. I guess I could see Dunkirk winning, even though
Yeah.
I feel like Baby Driver should have taken both sound mixing and editing. But
Yeah. Here's one that I actually wanted to talk about a little bit. More Gleams of Hope, animated short film. You know what won? Dear Basketball.
Who?
I don't know what any of these 5 movies
Okay.
are.
I haven't
Dear
heard any of these.
Basketball specifically was a I think it was one of the big basketball stars created, or sort of, it was an animated movie about his life, but told by him. And this is good that it won short film, because you know what didn't win?
What?
Fucking the Pixar thing, Olaf's Adventure or whatever.
That
the
wasn't
fuck
even
it was.
nominated. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
that
I
one
feel
wasn't
like.
even nominated.
I feel like the reason why Pixar, or the reason why something that wasn't a Pixar thing won this category was because Pixar did not put out an animated short film this time. They put the Olaf thing,
Yeah,
which is not made by Pixar.
yeah, which was made by something completely different.
Disney
Yeah.
animated.
Live action short film, The Silent Child one. I haven't seen any of these.
Uh-huh.
Original score, Shape of Water one. Okay. I honestly, out of all
I
of
could see,
these,
yeah.
the Shape of Water score is the one that I remember the most.
Yeah.
It had that very playful. It almost sounded like the Up soundtrack. It was fun.
Yeah,
What's
for
Up
ori-
soundtrack?
For original score, what it was going up against was Dunkirk, Phantom Thread, Star Wars, Last Jedi, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I've not seen 3 of these, but I would definitely say that Star Wars should not have won this. So
I saw all of these movies, and The Shape of Water is the one that I can really think back to and think, oh yeah, that one has some pretty good music. This was like the most deserving award that I've seen this entire thing. It was just like, yeah.
well,
That-
this
it
next
won.
one though.
Oh yeah, all right, yeah. Visual effects, Blade Runner 2049. Going up against Guardians of the Galaxy 2, fair enough. Yeah.
And Star Wars.
that-
Star Wars were pretty good. And
Star
and
Wars.
War for the Planet of the Apes, for that matter. These were all pretty
Yeah.
good. Kong Skull
Yeah.
Island, I'm like, that came out last year?
That came
Yeah.
out last year.
Yeah.
But
Kong Skull
Again?
Island did have pretty good effects, but
yeah,
not
but
even remote. Like, that's definitely like, well, we have to think of a 5th one.
yeah. But yeah,
I guess.
all of these in comparison to Blade Runner, like, man, what the fuck do you want? What, you think these guys would get? It's a fucking Blade Runner.
Dunkirk also
One film
beat out
editing,
Baby Driver for film editing.
which
This
don't
one I
think
would
is
not
enough.
have been as upset about if Baby Driver didn't lose in both of the sound
Yeah.
categories.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
film editing was also very good in Baby Driver because it was
Yeah.
so integrated with the sound mixing. So
Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't like super excited about how Dunkirk was edited. I didn't think that was one of the big.
Do you think-
If this was like a fucking Terrence Malick film where it was like this was cut down from like a fucking script and like a bunch of characters were cut out to give you this feeling, then I would be more surprised. But it seemed like the scripting was more integrated into it.
Do you think what's
So,
happening is that Baby Driver is more of a sum of its parts?
Maybe. I
And
don't
Dunkirk
know.
had, like, if in a vacuum had, if you were just looking at sound, had better sound mixing.
Maybe.
And but I don't know, like, because sound
Yeah.
mixing and film editing, like, those, like, film editing and sound mixing, like, those go hand in hand. Like, they need to work together. So I don't know.
I have no
Yeah.
idea. I couldn't. Makeup and hairstyling. A Darkness Hour won this,
I'm
which
actually,
is weird.
yeah, I don't know about
What's
this one.
Because yeah, no, this is surprising to me because there was a movie that came out this year that swept the Oscars. That a fucking fully prosthetic fish man.
Yeah,
It's not even the nominated for this shit. The fuck happened?
Huh.
Okay, it's whatever.
well,
I
makeup-
don't fucking know shit
makeup.
about that.
Well, hair.
well, but he
fishmen don't
wasn't
have hair.
makeup. He was a prosthetic, and
Okay, fair enough.
the makeup in the for the other characters were maybe not. I think costumes made more sense for that than
Yeah,
makeup.
okay, fair enough.
So I feel like, but I mean, I don't know. The
Whatever,
makeup wasn't very crazy in Darkest Hour either.
yeah, that's the thing. Like
So
this,
of these
this,
nominees, I feel like Wonder should have won because they had the makeup prosthetic fucked up face of the boy.
yeah. I mean, like,
Oh.
as far as like makeup and hairstyling nowadays, that there are a lot of fucking professionals that work in Hollywood, and they all do a very good job. And this is one of those things that it's like, okay, yeah, this exists because this was something that was started in the 1920s, and that was like a big deal then. And nowadays, this one's like, I mean, yeah, it's not like it's not fucking hard work. Don't get me wrong. It's just that nowadays it all sort of looks good. It all looks really good, and everyone is a professional and is very good at this because they went to school to learn how to do it good.
Well, I am glad that we are focusing on practical effects and makeup art
Yeah,
than
yeah, absolutely.
CG.
I agree with that.
But that being said, like, and I don't want to like cut people short. I think that you can be incredibly creative with makeup and hairstyling
Yeah.
and costuming. But
Yeah.
Darkest Hour?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Wasn't it a
I-
movie about Winston Churchill?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
mean,
that's
they made
kinda
his
weird
hair
to
look
me.
like Winston.
Winston Churchill.
He was sort of
and
bald.
that's kind of weird to me because it's like a period piece almost always wins makeup and hairstyling, and that's why like whenever I look at makeup and hair, it's like didn't that like take place in just like make him look like the 1920s? I mean, good job.
I
I
don't know.
mean, people did their makeup and hair like that back then.
They sure the fuck did. I mean, yeah, Ace of Cowards too, but anyway, moving on to the two big bastards of the night. Best director.
Talk into your microphone.
We had what?
Talk into the microphone, Mr.
Oh.
Del Toro.
I'm sorry. Best director.
I
First
have it
off, we had
mixed on my end.
Yeah. First off, we got Christopher Nolan going in for Dunkirk, Jordan Peele for Get Out, Greta Gerwig for Lady Bird, PTA for Thomas Anderson, and the winner was Guillermo del fucking Toro for The Shape of Water. My boy won that shit, and I'm excited for him. I'm super happy about that. I'm over the goddamn moon about this shit. This man beat Paul Thomas fucking Anderson. This man beat the guy who directed fucking There Will Be Blood. And people said this was his best movie yet. Movie about a fucking fish man having sex with Sally Hawkins, directed by a man who was fucked by Warner Brothers for years. Fucking years.
It's funny.
Won an Oscar, instant he leaves.
It's kind of funny to me because I've heard that Guillermo del Toro, that I've heard from a few different people that this was not their favorite Guillermo del Toro film,
Yeah.
and including
And it
you,
wasn't
right?
even mine.
Yeah, so it's kind
I
of
was one
funny.
the people like that.
Kind of funny that this is the point in time that everybody seems to have like finally caught on Guillermo del Toro, which leads us into our next thing.
Best picture.
Best Picture.
We got a Yeah, we got a bunch of good fucking nominations here. We got Call Me by Your Name, which won like fucking critic awards, like the Critics' Choice Awards or whatever. The Nickelodeon Critics' Choice Awards voted Call Me by Your Name as the best movie. We have
That was
Darkest
and
Hour,
that one adapted screenplay. So
yeah, and it won adapted screenplay. Yeah, we had Darkest Hour, which is a period piece about Winston Churchill. Oscar bait as fuck. We got Dunkirk. Yeah, it was good though. We got Dunkirk, which is a fucking Christopher Nolan movie about World War II. Also Oscar bait as fuck. Get Out, a fantastic movie by a first-time
and not at all Oscar bait.
Yeah, not at all Oscar bait.
It's a horror movie.
Yeah,
a horror comedy, like
a horror comedy directed by Jordan Peele of Key and Peele, who had his first time directing, but just knocked it out of the goddamn park, making a goddamn great.
He was
movie
also nominated for Best Director.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
First movie.
For his first movie.
Well, first solo movie, right?
Yeah, first solo movie. But yeah, we had that, in which we've talked about on the podcast a lot as being like the great example of if you want to make a movie that has a message, you have to make a good movie.
Yeah.
And it's just that. That's what Get Out is. Lady Bird.
I am really surprised Lady Bird didn't win.
Yeah, I'm surprised the Lady Bird didn't win too. This was the movie that everyone was going fucking crazy about.
This is the one people
Everyone
wouldn't stop
Lady
talking
Bird.
about it, and it felt like Oscar bait. It was like a double.
Double fucking whammy. Speaking of that, Phantom Thread, Paul Thomas Anderson, who has been lauded as the best director working right now, finally had a movie that people, another movie that people are like, this is his best one since fucking There Will Be Blood. I'm super over the moon about this. He's finally getting
of the ones that I have not seen yet. Phantom Thread and Lady Bird are actually the ones I still want to like go back and watch.
Yeah. I would watch. Have you seen There Will Be Blood?
Probably.
Okay.
I don't remember it, but I have watched a lot of movies.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
And that's one of the ones that like a lot of people have definitely absolutely watched. The Post, which is a Steven Spielberg Oscar bait film
with Meryl Streep in it.
With Meryl fucking Streep in it. That I thought it was kind of like meh, but I honestly think that Steven Spielberg's work when he's not directing like people that in the 60s think, oh, this is fucking plebe shit, it's gonna lead to the downfall of Hollywood.
I have not seen There Will Be Blood.
Okay.
So, maybe I'll go back and watch that. But I mean, of this crop of Oscar movies.
Yeah, out of this crop of Oscar movies. But yeah, and then Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, which is another movie that everyone was clamoring about when it came out. The Shape of Water, the movie about Sally Hawkins fucking a fisherman, won Best Picture. My boy Guillermo del Toro fucking did it twice in a row, same goddamn night. His ass was holding 2 fucking Oscars. I'm so happy for my boy. I'm so happy he got rid of the shackles of Warner Brothers. They kept him from making, like, they took the fucking Hobbit away from him. They kept him from making Hellboy 3. They kept him from making Pacific Rim 2. And the instant he left, they brought out Pacific Rim 2, and they're remaking Hellboy. Because they didn't want Guillermo del Toro to have anything to do with it. Then he fucking goes and does his own thing. Wins 2 goddamn Oscars.
I'm
my boy.
Really surprised that Shape of Water won Best Picture and Sally Hawkins didn't win Actress in a Leading Role. That's weird to me.
Me too.
Because Sally Hawkins like made that movie in a lot of ways. So I'm like surprised that like for them to have that movie be Best Picture but not give Sally Hawkins the credit, like that seems weird, doesn't it?
Yeah. Maybe they just really like Frances McDormand. She played a good fucking crazy person.
Yeah, but like for Sally Hawkins to play a mute character and do so effectively is just bonkers to me. Like that was such a believable. Well, it's believable because I think Sally Hawkins is actually mute, right?
I don't think.
I don't remember.
I don't think so.
Yeah, no, actually, that's wrong.
I'm pretty sure she's not.
Yeah, whoa. Whatever.
Something. Yeah. Yeah, it is still surprising. I definitely see what you're saying.
So I don't know. I'm just really surprised that like, I almost don't think that's a snub per se.
Yeah.
Because I feel like she did go up against someone who's really.
Yeah. Like
Frances McDormand, like from everything I've seen of that movie, like I can totally see why she lost. it feels like for Shape of Water to win Best Picture, but not Sally Hawkins win Actress in a Leading Role, that seems so weird because those those felt like the things that went hand in hand with that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, hey,
yeah.
Meryl Streep didn't win.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's Rivers in the Desert. Meryl Streep didn't win.
I wonder if that feels like Meryl Streep got snubbed for people.
Meryl Streep ain't got snubbed. Meryl Streep dictated that it was okay to let someone else win this time.
maybe that is what happened. I don't know.
It's all right.
Yeah,
You can let
sounds
someone else win this time. I'm fine. I'm already stuffing my pillows and bed sheets with Oscars. I have too many. I don't know what to do. I'm giving them to my grandchildren. Yeah. But yeah, that was the Oscars.
I guess she
great
can still say she was in an Oscar-winning movie. So
I was in an Oscar-nominated film for that year. Didn't win.
Somehow.
yeah, but she won. She was not only was she Oscar-nominated, but she was in Best Picture of 2017. That is still something.
Yeah. She was in the Best Picture winner and the Guillermo del Toro.
She can't
Best
say
Director winner.
I have an Oscar, but she can say I was in an Oscar-winning film.
I was the lead actress in the quadruple fucking Oscar-winning film, The Shape of Water, where I jerked off a fish man's dick. I got to describe his dick to the lady who asked, and it won Oscars. Fuck you.
Hey, Dalsson, have you... Okay. Now, I know that you don't see a lot of movies, but I know that you see a lot of movies, and I don't ever know which movies you've seen. Have you seen Shape of Water?
I did not see Shape of Water, no.
And we probably should watch Blade Runner again, but...
Maybe I want to watch the first Blade Runner this time.
Okay,
my whole reason I didn't want to watch the second one the first time.
Okay, that's still like a silly reason because those aren't even hardly connected, but
yeah,
that's fine.
Oh fuck. No, I love the way that you said that because that's been like my life watching movies. It's like, oh, you haven't seen Shape of Water? Okay, yeah. Oh, you know what? We should totally watch Blade Runner again.
Yeah. Also, I want to watch Baby Driver because I actually think you would really like Baby Driver.
I think I would like Baby Driver, yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
I think that should actually be kind of higher on our list just because.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Also Thor Ragnarok. I know Dalsson likes Thor, and that movie wasn't bad. I talked a lot of shit, but it wasn't terrible.
No, it was actually one of the better Marvel movies. It wasn't like groundbreaking. Same way like Black Panther was.
Everyone's
but
talking about
really
how
good.
it was groundbreaking. That's why I talk shit about it so much. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe people were just on the upswing for Marvel again.
Yeah,
I think they just got like it's like superhero fatigue rounded out and went back to zero again or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like Black Panther. I can see it. Black Panther was great, but I don't know about Thor Ragnarok.
I feel like Black Panther was a conversation.
Yeah.
Whereas
I mean that
Thor Ragnarok was a good movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
My cat keeps farting.
Watching a new movie for me, it's like, all right, here we go. It's like that. There was this fucking Letterboxd post. You hear fucking window shattering. Oh shit. Oh fuck. You hear patter patter patter. Hi.
Black Panther is the kind of movie.
Denny again. Are you going to watch Blade Runner 2049 again? No, Mr. Villeneuve, I can't put it in your fucking DVD player, bitch. Okay.
It's like Todd Howard's level of meme.
It's Todd Howard. You should buy Blade Runner 2049 for a fourth time, but I already own it. It doesn't matter. Buy the bust of Ryan Gosling's head.
I really want Cyberpunk to come out.
Come back.
Like,
yeah.
Well, no, because it's coming out.
I want Cyberpunk to come out.
Because
I want them to invent Cyberpunk again.
No, I mean, I never say the number because I always forget what number.
2077.
Is it 2077?
I think it is.
Yeah,
I really want it to come out because it's the new CD Projekt Red game. But like Blade Runner coming out just makes me want that game more.
Same. Yeah.
And there's been some like trailers and stuff leaking about it.
Good.
Yeah, that was the Oscars.
Responsibility.
The Oscars were, of course, they did get a little bit political, but they didn't get like the horrible death of Hollywood actors getting kicked out of Hollywood. I don't think they talked too much about that because they kind of wanted to avoid.
It wasn't like the Golden Globes. The Golden Globes was really bad this year for that.
Yeah. But yeah,
I didn't watch the Oscars anyway because I thought that it might be that, but then when it wasn't, I was like, okay, that's cool. I didn't watch the Oscars already because of it, but
things that happened that they could politically talk about, you know?
Right.
And of course, it was Jimmy Kimmel hosting. How many times has that man fucking hosted a goddamn Oscars? Get someone else. Neil Patrick Harris wasn't super good, but you can fucking find someone else.
I like
You don't
Neil
need
Patrick.
to get Jimmy Kimmel.
Neil
every
Patrick
year.
Harris, for all I'm concerned, can host everything ever. I would be
yeah,
fine with it.
Fair enough, but
Yeah,
like
well.
that year specifically, he was like almost completely unprepared. He didn't seem like he had any idea what he was doing. Why the fuck are you getting Jimmy Kimmel for like it was like last 3-4 years? Get someone else. There are more people. Can we get
Get Jordan Peele.
yeah.
Get Jordan Peele to host the Oscars in which he has a movie.
We need to have Jordan Peele direct another Oscar winning movie and have Keegan-Michael Key be the Oscars man.
Yeah.
I want
And then it's
BoJack
just hung for,
Horseman
like,
to host the
20
Oscars.
minutes. Yeah, I want BoJack Horseman
Just have
to
BoJack
host
Horseman
the Oscars
himself.
too.
Oh, actually, his voice actor. They should have him voice the
Yeah.
Oscars or
Yeah.
host the Oscars.
And just have like a fucking animated BoJack Horseman just walking around on stage or something. Use holograms or some shit.
Well, actually,
Bring
the
it back
actor
like
is
they
a good
brought back
actor.
Tupac. Yeah, oh, yeah,
The uncle
yeah,
from Arrested Development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've run pretty long, so I think that's going to be it for this week.
Yeah, that's it. We talked about everything.
I don't know
Yep.
that we have a lot coming out. So we probably have another Little Nightmares video coming out, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That'll go for at
Probably.
least another like 4 episodes, hopefully.
Monday I have a Yue Nikki video coming out.
Okay, next Monday.
Yeah, next
There wasn't
Monday.
anything that came out today, which is
No.
the first time. Actually, I'm really surprised because Thel's supposed to be on kind of like a bi-weekly basis, but he's been like
Yeah.
every week lately, so it's been super good.
Yeah. Well, no, I've
Yeah.
been doing it bi-weekly because it was the Hollow Knight video before, and then 2 weeks later the Kingdom Come video.
That's it.
Right.
I feel like we had
Yeah.
something else on a Monday, but well, whatever.
I don't know. I don't think I did.
So yeah, okay, we got that. What else we got? The Little Nightmares. Yume Nikki next Monday probably.
Yeah.
I feel like
Right.
we have something else, but I don't. Oh well. Yeah, well, stay tuned to our YouTube channel. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And give us more comments, because I actually do. We do like talking in the comments as much as possible.
Yeah. That's no, for
Absolutely.
sure. Yeah.
And we've been getting more comments on like every video, which is great.
Even when what they're talking about is completely disconnected from the video, but that's fine.
It's
Yeah,
slightly
exactly.
connected,
Yeah,
somewhat
well, you know.
connected.
Somewhat connected.
Yeah.
Vaguely connected.
I don't even go that far. Because then they just started talking about Hollow Knight in that video, but that's fine.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I'm okay if they want to talk about Hollow Knight and completely disconnected videos.
We're not
cool with
dragging
that.
you. That's fine. Go right the fuck ahead, man.
And yeah, look for the Graveyard Media Curator on Steam. That's your thing. We're
Yeah.
gonna
Right.
definitely
Like that
start
stuff.
ramping up our efforts to talk about games we played on that.
Great.
And is there anything else? What games are you playing this week, Dalsson?
Tomorrow, I'm going to start playing Final Fantasy 15 the moment it drops, and I ain't never gonna stop. I quit my
Oh, so you
job
played
already.
Divinity.
No more Divinity. It's Final Fantasy 15. I quit my job already. That's all I'm ever gonna be doing for the rest of my life. At least until Monster Hunter World comes out.
That'll
and
be your
there's that
stream
point.
game, and we'll still probably play 30 hours of Divinity a week still.
Yeah.
Hey, after the
Hey,
podcast,
also,
you guys
wanna
want to
play
watch?
Path of
You guys
Exile
want to play
and try
Divinity?
out- Yeah. Hey.
Maybe.
fucking-
Yeah. That sounds like a great idea.
Let's go play Divinity. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We will see you next week. And remember,
Stay beautiful.
You forgot there for a second.
I
Like,
line you up
forgot.
every time, and
Oh.
you're like, "Oh, what was I doing?"
What?
Okay.
Did I say
Thanks for
something?
joining
Oh,
us.
bye.
See you later.